Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tom Bilyeu Show live. I'm excited to have you guys here. I've got Drew in the house. We've got Mason over on the community, and we've got Eric and G behind the scenes. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. This is a Trump-heavy day, so strap in, everybody, because Trump tried to fire Fed board member Lisa Cook, and this is really stupid. The Fed should be an independent organization. If you are trying to make things better for the American public, you want the Fed to be as separate as humanly possible. It's already centralized. You already have a single organization that is setting the most important price in the land, which is terrible. And if you further centralize that power by making them fear the executive branch, I think we're really in trouble. Trump also signs an EO making flag burning illegal. It's really about burning the flag as incitement, but I'm not going to lie. My problems with authority made me want to go out and burn a flag. And I'm like the most pro-American guy ever. And I legitimately was like, do I do it, Drew? Do I go buy a flag so I can make a statement? This is wild. I do not like people trying to control my speech. That one really is freedom of speech. And yes, I get it. They are saying that they're trying to make sure that they do not run afoul of the First Amendment. But nonetheless, this one just feels silly. So I'll be very interested to see if the EO leans enough on the language of this is about incitement to get by, or if that one's going to be shot down by the Supreme Court. They've already ruled on this, so we shall see that one play out. Trump wants to seize the means of production, apparently, everybody. I have a pretty strong take on that. The U.S. right now is planning to take a 10% stake in Intel. That's going to be fun to talk about. Supposedly, for national security reasons. I don't know. Under any other president, I might actually go for that one in particular from the national security angle, but I really do think that Trump is just so addicted to doing the deal that he's more caught up in that. And on this one, he probably has his heart in the right place. Oh, but I don't like the outcome. Trump is also going after the cartels in North and South America. Drones appear to be flying over Mexico, perhaps to map it out. So that one would be pretty wild if that escalated all the way to us having troops on the ground there. I do really agree that we need to do something to stem the flow of the cartels into the U.S. I think that we have to have a strong reaction to that. But starting inside of our own borders feels like the right answer. So we'll see where all of this goes. It certainly is not easing tensions between us and Mexico. So we'll see how it plays out. Elon Musk fired off yesterday on X saying that he wants to fund UK lawsuits against politicians that he believes were involved in what he's calling the rape of Britain. It's pretty dark if you guys have been following that story at all. What's going on there, how long these rape grooming gangs have been covered up for. So pretty freakish. Seeing Elon go over there and fund lawsuits. I don't know. I loved it when Peter Thiel secretly funded the lawsuit against Gawker. I thought that was super gangster. But now just people throwing their money around to lawsuits that they're not involved in. I'm not sure. Chat, it'll be interesting to get your guys' take on that. And they did it, everybody. They added the cracker back to Cracker Barrel. Shout out to Drew. I stole his line, everybody. I stole his line. That came from Drew, and it's probably much funnier from you, Drew, but I did enjoy seeing that in the prep doc. So thank you for that, putting a smile on my face. That whole rebrand is hilarious, and we will see how it plays out in the fullness of time. There was also somebody crashing out about capitalism responding to the Cracker Barrel rebrand and the gray boxification of all of America. But we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, chat. Wonderful to have you guys here, and let's get into it.
Trump had his cabinet meeting, so there's been a lot of headlines from Trump yesterday. Again, it's a Trump-heavy news day, literally, because the entire regime was around the table yesterday. I found it interesting because I don't remember in recent history who else live streams their cabinet meeting. Literally, they were even talking about the boom mic operators who were literally holding microphones for 3 hours as every individual department head from the Interior, HHS, RFK was there, Hegseth, Marco Rubio, everything. Linda McMahon, we got an update. So there was a lot of news, but I want to start with first. Okay, there's been some speculation about what the actual wording of the executive order is, but Trump has put a renewed focus on flag burning. And if you really open up the EO and kind of bury something at the very bottom. In the last paragraph, it says, "My administration will act to restore respect and sanctity to the American flag and prosecute those who incite violence or otherwise violate our laws while desecrating the symbol of our country." And I think that incite violence line is literally the thing that separates it from free speech.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly what they're going to use to try to separate this from free speech. And so we'll see when they actually go after this. This was something, though, that's already been litigated. The Supreme Court has already said that this is protected speech. So I don't know, man. This one is, they give a ton of latitude and people can go and they can burn a flag and they can make their statement and they can protest and they're not gone after, great. But if they're like, well, this could have led to an incitement because they were doing this out in public and we are going to throw the book at them, then this is just about trying to rally literally around the flag to draw a line to say that this thing is sacred as a symbol of America and you're going to be patriotic whether you like it or not. And this is where, I remember this coming up, I think it was back in the 90s. It felt weird back then. It feels weird now that I love that we all make certain things sacred in our lives, but we will get to the person who burned the Quran. Did you see that?
Yeah.
With a flamethrower. It was like the most hysterically American thing I've ever seen in my life. And like when you make something sacred in your own heart, that's one thing. When you are trying to make it sacred to everybody else, that's a totally different thing. And so people are saying she's doing this to incite violence against that community. It's also possible that there is violence towards her from that community because it's such a sacred symbol. And so, again, making something sacred in your heart is fine, but expecting everybody else to hold it in that same esteem, I think, is a mistake. If we're going to protect America, we've got to tell a good story about what America is. We've got to make people literally rally around the flag because they believe in what it stands for. You are not going to get people there because you make it illegal to burn. And so that's where this just starts becoming idiotic, is like you are clamping down too hard. So when you go, hey, DC's way out of control, we're going to go like restore law and order. Okay, like there's an argument to be made. But when you start trying to take something that's already been adjudicated by the Supreme Court and like inch a little bit closer, it really is just, I mean, I don't want to bandy around authoritarian. It's just overreach. It's not going to have the effect that you want. It's going to continue to be divisive. It is not going to draw America together. And if your goal is to get people to fall in love with America as a country, that's not the way.
Yeah. G, if you could put up the laptop screen of the lady burning the Quran. How do we tease these two things apart, though? Because on one side, right wing, a lot of politicians, Matt Walsh went crazy about flag burning and things like that. They're all saying, if you burn the flag, you should go straight to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. But then on the other side, we have a GOP candidate literally burning something as sacred to that community. And should it just be, oh, they're not American, it's cool? Because I feel like if this was a Bible, those same people would be up in arms. And me being religious, I definitely don't want to be a hypocrite in this situation where her burning the Quran, I don't know what she's trying to incite. I don't know if she's trying to say, I'm going to take down this religion. Like, she's trying to almost be like a villain. I don't really get it. But
so like, play the clip because she's pretty clear about what she's trying to say. Like, this is wild.
Your daughters will be raped and your sons beheaded unless we stop Islam once and for all.
This is full satire.
The other cheek.
I can't believe
Remember,
she's serious.
David didn't pray for Goliath. He killed them. America is a Christian nation, so those terrorist Muslims can fuck off to any of the 57 Muslim nations. There is only one true God, and that is the God of Israel.
Okay, so this is a collision of values. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And so I'm a little bit jokey because this is so over the top, but the reality is a collision of values is the thing everybody should be afraid of. It is the thing that people will start killing each other for. Anybody that's confused about that, go ahead and draw a picture of Mohammed and see how that goes. People take their value system extremely seriously. So that's really what you're seeing here is somebody who, in a TikTok fashion, is realizing this is how I'm going to get my message across by being like bombastic, dialed to 11, to say my message in the most aggressive, crystallized fashion so that it will be emotionally triggering, so that it's going to get attention. Playing the Hallelujah music as you...
That was a Kanye song.
As you fry the Quran is... This is wild. So, okay, how do you tease the two things apart? Honestly, getting into the collision of values thing is the thing that draws these inextricably together for me. So I don't know, while they're two examples temperamentally, arguably very different, but it's the same idea. You take a sacred symbol and you say that this thing is off limits, that because I believe it to be sacred, I insist you believe it to be sacred. And this is where we're going to find a collision, because she's right that this is a Christian nation. But when you start talking about David didn't pray for Goliath or whatever she says, he killed him, it does sound pretty bad in terms of what she's trying to get across. So this is exactly like, worry about the incitement. Don't worry about the symbol that they're burning. And so trying to make the American flag like the special exception. And so burning the Quran is fine, and calling for, I mean, she gets about as close as you're going to get to saying, go kill yourself a handful of Islamists. So this one feels pretty incitement-y to me. And so if we're going to be okay with this, but we're not going to be okay with that had she burned the flag, that's idiotic to me. So getting people to focus on the core issue, when values collide, people become very dangerous. You need to protect yourself from that. And then if somebody wants to burn a Quran, let them burn a Quran. If they want to burn the flag, let them burn the flag. But if they want to incite people to violence, we already have laws against that.
Is there... But to the whole story, we need to have a unified America. We need to bring people together.
You can't force it, though. This is the problem. So, yes, we need it, but you've got to sell it. You've got to make America, from a narrative perspective, easy to track, why it's awesome, why I should love it. You should be very careful what you're teaching kids. If you only focus on the negative things that have happened in America, then, of course, people are going to have a negative view of America. So, you have to propagandize yourself, because you don't want to be lying to yourself, but you do want to focus in on the things that set you up to build in the right way, in a way that is going to be prosperity for as many people as humanly possible, would be the thing that I rounded to. And so when you create an internal narrative, and by the way, for anybody that's internally freaking out that I'm saying you're going to intentionally like look at only certain parts, that's all humans do all the time. So part of having eyeballs is that your evolutionary processes that gave you the human animal said the vast majority, the vast majority of things you interact with, they don't matter. So I'm going to limit your world to a very small subset. So a stat that I've said a gazillion times, we only see 0.0035% of the available electromagnetic spectrum. So evolution has said, the vast majority of what's there just doesn't matter. So focus in on this. And I would say the same is true for people that like push the 1619 project. They're saying, hey, all those wonderful positive things about America, they don't matter. Just focus on the negative things. That has second and third order consequences. I would say they are terrible, but nonetheless, it's a simplification of the American narrative. I would say, hey, do a similar thing that they're doing, but focus on the positive things that lead us in a good direction, that make people feel more connected to each other, that make people feel unified, that give them this expansive sense of what America is, and focus on that. Even word choice already artificially focuses people's minds in a certain way. So trying to get outside of a frame of reference doesn't make any sense. You're going to be in a frame of reference. Build a frame of reference that is useful. Build a frame of reference that makes people come together, because if you don't, especially in populist moments driven by wealth inequality, you're just going to exacerbate the separation of your country, and it will ultimately begin to fight against itself. And I mean that in a bloodshed way.
Whew, we got a red light.
Let's go.
We have two super chats, both from LeBlanc.
Yeah, super chat.
First one
Level
was
one.
have
What's
a
up, brother?
beautiful and wonderful morning, IT, best wishes. And the second one is on topic, all these anti-Islam stuff reminds me of the early 2000s and doesn't seem important. Just talking heads trying to push hate towards foreigners as an outlet for decades of bad economic policies.
I would say that is not accurate. So yes, we've had decades of bad economic policy. On that, I will certainly agree with you. Value systems are real. And this is why I think the European nations have been so caught off guard by the extreme backlash they are now facing from immigration policies. Is everybody has this really bizarre notion that diversity is like our greatest strength. Diversity is the attack on the immune system that may make you stronger. And so it may have like a hormetic effect. And hormesis is where a thing that actually is breaking you in some way, is difficult, is hard on you. So take the immune system. It's the ultimate example of a hormetic stress that leads to something good. If the immune system goes unchallenged, it never meets a foreign invader, then it becomes very weak and you have to be the boy in the bubble. Trees, same thing. If they don't encounter wind during all of their development and then suddenly wind blows, they will fall over. So you need things that harden you and make you tougher. And maybe diversity is that thing. There's a great quote from Thomas Sowell. There's never been any idea in history that has been, this is obviously a paraphrase, that we have asked people to accept without evidence, more so than the idea that diversity is our greatest strength. So diversity will cause societies to pull against each other. Now, if you can hit some sort of dynamic tension where you find a better idea, this is how I think men and women have done so well together. There's a dynamic tension between them, and when they respect each other and they move through the world as partners, everything goes well. When you find a moment like the moment that we're living in now, where people are antagonistic towards each other, then it all breaks apart. So going back to all the things that people are saying about Islam, the reality is it is a wildly different value system. And when you try to commingle value systems, it is at a minimum that hormetic stress that I'm talking about, and it will cause friction in the culture. And it may go all the way to just, this is how you rupture cultures. And unfortunately, Christians and Muslims have gone back and forth conquering each other's lands, and they have yet to just like, oh, we meld and everything is great. We go through these periods of one is killing the other. Nobody is innocent in this. It goes back and forth. But it's because they are mutually exclusive belief systems. Now, if you look at something like Buddhism and Christianity, for instance, not as much long-term friction. Though if you look at some of the early, like the Portuguese going into Japan, there was some weirdness there. But for the most part, like those two value systems don't collide in such a fiery way, and you can see them coexisting at least in modern times. But extremist Islamic beliefs do not mesh well with anything else, essentially. Now, again, you have to be very careful to separate Muslims from Islamic radicalists. Those are two very different ways of approaching the world. And just like Christians for centuries were conquering hordes, but you get a modernized version of it that integrates far better in a modern context. Hey, maybe we can see that same thing happen from a more secular Muslim approach. But that's not going to be an easy thing to negotiate. And so that's where we are. So anyway, I wouldn't brush off that importing a bunch of people with a different value system is just like fear-mongering for people to point out that that's potentially problematic. It is potentially problematic. So there it is.
Where we at with the chat, Mason?
So the one thing that stood out to me is we have on one side people saying our troops don't go and fight for us just to burn the flag. That's like heinous toward the troops. And then we don't have to teach people respect.
So don't move past that. So
there is a flip side to it. And so then the flip side is someone saying our men and women don't fight for the flag. They fight for a right to burn it to make a statement. And
yeah, so I would certainly fall more down on that line. But even that, like no soldier is going to recognize themselves in I'm fighting for your right to burn the flag. What they're fighting for is a country that has freedom. And so I think where this gets confusing is where people are asked to like that people are burning the flag. Nobody's asking you to like that people are burning the flag. What they're saying is, okay, there are multiple structures that we can build, governmental, societal structures that we can build, and which one yields the most thriving for the largest number of people. And that is certainly that last mile of that statement is me putting my own value system in. But I like to think that everybody's got some sort of similar idea running in the background. The only other variant of that might have widespread popularity would be what is the system that's most in keeping with what God wants for you. So once you look at it through that lens, it's like, okay, does freedom yield the thriving for the most people, or does freedom align with what God wants for you, if that's the angle that you take? And if you have a system that does not yield the largest amount of thriving for the most amount of people, or is out of step with God, then you begin to have an issue. So that, I think, a soldier would recognize themselves in. Oh, I fight for freedom because I believe that this is a thing that yields the best outcome for the largest number of people, and I'm willing to lay my life down for that to make sure that you guys are safe, secure, and that you can have personal property, and that you can be free to do the things you want. Cool. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm fighting for. Cool. Now, a second and third order consequence of that is you've got to let people burn the flag, because if that's the thing that they believe and they want to do it, the only way to stop them is with force. And this is my beef with Trump, is that he's like, yeah, use fucking force. And so that's where I'm like, the instinct is wrong. So the instinct when you encounter that from the leader that I would want would be somebody that says, ooh, like this is somebody that I have not yet won over. This is somebody that doesn't love America. And why don't they love America? And listen, you're not going to be able to win everybody over, but you should be in the business of making the most compelling argument that you can and not just stamping down. Now, I think for the most part, he's walked that line pretty well, but ambition grows in the Eden. And as he sees his popularity hold steady, or at least not plummet, he's a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther. Like if he sticks with, I'm not going to send the National Guard into Chicago unless they invite me, great. If he goes to, well, he had a chance to invite me, but he didn't, and so welcome the tanks, it's then, okay, this is going to escalate and it's going to keep being a problem. So to some degree, you have to let people live with the consequences of their bad choices so that people do have the freedom. And right now, Trump goes more and more towards, I'm the parent, you're the child, meaning the states. And if you can't get your shit together, then I'm going to come in. I'm doing it because I love you, Drew. I'm not doing it because I'm mad or because I'm a dictator. But you are going to clean up your room. You are going to go to bed early. You are going to eat your vegetables. And that's just not the federalist system that we have. And so we have a system where people are allowed to vote with their feet. They can certainly leave. Nobody's going to stop you. But the federal government doesn't get to come into the states and there are certain things they certainly can, but for the most part, you don't just get to roll in and be like, no, we're going to run this state in a new way. It's like they elected people.
JC Crypto had an interesting rebuttal to this. He says, if it's illegal to burn the pride flag or any flag, it should also be illegal to burn every flag.
I get it, but it's like, if women can hit men, then men should be able to hit women. It's like, how about women just not hit men? Like the full retard answer of, God, what do they say? Equal rights, equal fights. It's like, fuck me. Like, this is just stupid. Just tell women to keep their hands to themselves, that's completely unhinged for you to hit a man. And OPS guys, don't fucking hit back. So it's all wacky. And I'm not saying that there aren't circumstances. If a woman is coming at me with a knife, I'm going to punch her right in her fucking mouth. But I didn't even know we had that.
Let's go, G.
He's like ready with that. That came a little too fast, G.
He just had a domestic violence button. Like, what is that?
Yeah, it's funny. Someone in the chat's like, the sound effects. Yeah. So anyway, that's where I would fall on that. So I get it. I get why people have this reactionary response when somebody's like, well, if they can't burn the pride flag, then yeah, it's dumb that you can't burn the pride flag. You should be able to burn the shit out of it. If you like burn rubber in an intersection with a pride decoration, then what is the thing for doing donuts in the middle of the street, what's the penalty? They should get that penalty. Making that a hate crime at a moment right now where this isn't about hate. I mean, for some people, clearly it is. This is like one of the biggest public debates that we've had in my lifetime. So to say that there's no way for somebody to do that as an act of political protest and not as an act of hate is moronic. And that's where like this has all gotten so out of hand is people are being told that they can't talk about things that they really want to talk about that are culturally important to talk about. And they're being said that merely bringing it up is a hate crime. That's fucking stupid. And so that's why I don't want to see Trump try to gain ground on like making it impossible for people to talk about the flag at a time where people have real beef with the way that America is operating. And they want to be able to have that conversation internally, and they should be able to have it. And if the way that they want to have it is to jump up and down and burn the flag, as long as they are not inciting violence, they should be able to do it. Now, I know technically that's what the EO says. And if it gets interpreted that way and they only pursue it that way, where somebody is burning the flag to incite the way Homegirl was burning the Quran to incite, in my opinion, fair enough. But yeah, let people burn the flag.
We've got another one from LeBlanc.
Let's go. Juan's coming in hot today.
Yeah.
By the way, did we finally break his soul and he's now over on YouTube? We did, didn't we? He finally abandoned Twitch.
Shout out to our Twitchers. Shout out to Kit
to our
Moon.
Twitchers.
She just subscribed. Appreciate you.
Let's go. All right, sorry.
So from LeBlanc, your right to burn the flag ends when it's in the middle of the road or highway near a building, etc. If you want to purchase a flag made in China and burn it in your backyard, you should be fine. It's not something I care about. I'm a vet.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I don't know if people know that he's a vet, but yeah, fair enough. If we're not going to let people burn anything in the middle of the street and you go burn your flag in the middle of the street, then arrest them for burning things. Don't arrest them for burning a flag. This is trying to add a specific penalty for burning the flag. So if you burn trash in the middle of the street and then your friend next to you burns the flag in the middle of the street and you get a misdemeanor and they get a felony, that's dumb. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I want to kind of keep this what America is doing and how they're stepping on our rights conversation going, because a lot of people were worried about the Biden regime, the authoritarian tactics. But now, with Trump investing in private companies and more private companies now becoming nationalized, there is some speculation. So this is a report from after the cabinet meeting that he took from reporters talking about his 10% stake in Intel.
During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist. But the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical? And is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example,
He's so honest. You can't say that he doesn't just say the thing. He says the thing. I wonder how often Trump is outright lying, because he is so willing to say things that I'm just like, bro, this is like horrible thing per minute. Like he will hit a density of horrible thing that is so high that I'm like, that just I was about to go after you for that one, but then you said this one, and now that
And you're still talking.
yeah, it's like it. So I don't know, man. I'm sure he does lie. Every fucking politician lies. But he also just says the things, man. It is wild. Is this the new industrial policy? Yeah, sure. Yep. I want to get as much. I want to get as much as I can. He actually said it. That's wild.
real
That
estate
is
person.
wild.
If I have
This is like historically illiterate. So I've really tried to map like what he's doing here. And the only thing I can think is that his frame of reference is so entrepreneurial that he's like, bro, I've done deals like this. No, Drew. I'm going to get you a piece of this. I got you. Bro, as the American people, we're going to get you stuff. This is going to be dope. I'm going to get you some of TikTok. I'm going to get you some of Intel. I'm going to start like hardball negotiating these guys. And he's not realizing, yeah, but as the government, this hits different. And now all of a sudden the US government, if they get 10%, they are now the single largest shareholder of Intel. Now, they don't have voting power. But guess what, Drew? When the president of the United States calls you into the Oval Office and is like, bitch, I own 10% of this company. You better fucking hop to this, because it'd just be a real tragedy if some tariffs showed up on your door tomorrow, wouldn't it, Drew? Like, to your point, like the government can start acting like a gangster.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think he realizes the utility of authority from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that he doesn't realize that you cross like a really weird chasm when you go into the government. And when you try to carry over some entrepreneurial principles, it's incredible. When you try to carry all entrepreneurial principles, it becomes maddening.
Yeah.
And so if this is because it's purely national security, okay. Like if I were convinced, okay, got it. Like there are going to be times where you have to do stuff like that. We have already done it historically, including bailing out the banks and all of that. But historically, this has always been, there's been some big crisis. We had to address the big crisis and then we move forward. This is not that. On its face, it could become that as we go down the road. If in the battle for AI with China, like this really ends up being a chip war, and if China really is on the precipice of either sweating Taiwan to the point politically where they just start listening to China more than they listen to the US, or if China just outright goes and takes over Taiwan, yes, we would need a backup plan. And that is what the administration has said, is this is about making sure from a national security perspective that we have access to chips. Then people will push them. But hold on, like you're negotiating increased access to chips from NVIDIA, like what are you talking about? And their punchline is only chips that are down the tech stack. They're no longer the cutting edge. We're not worried about that. We're using that in leverage with China, partly to slow down their own development, which would be good for everybody, just because they won't need them as much, and partly to get other concessions. So it's like, I don't want to pretend that this isn't inside of a context that there's some logic to that and you can get why they would be doing what they're doing. But at the same time, like watch the pattern. And the pattern with Trump is it's a business guy who loves deals. He's legitimately excited. Part of it is he wants to throw his weight around. He wants to get things done his way. And part of it is I legitimately think this is a guy who loves America, loves the American people, wants to do something good for them, and doesn't realize that this puts them in an increasingly dangerous position. You centralize more power, you start becoming more socialist. It's like you don't out China, you out America, China. And so with us going in the wrong direction with so many of his instincts, it's not ideal.
Yeah, I want to keep this going because he does say why he did it in comparison to the Biden administration and the CHIPS Act.
Agreement, and I have any form of a stopgap where I can stop somebody from doing something, right? I have a covenant and an agreement, and they come to me and they say, would like to do something, but you have us restricted. If I do that, they usually have to pay. Now, in the case of Intel, it was interesting, but I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it. Intel came in. I met with the gentleman. I had a lot of respect for him. He came in under a little bit of a cloud. I liked his story. I thought he was good. I think he really means to do a good.
Do I like pressure him to step down for national security reasons, or do I just take a piece of his company? And the fact that he's saying like, I hope that there are many more like this. What does that mean? You hope that there are many more industries that are a national security risk? I don't. You hope that there are more companies that are in trouble and so you have leverage over them? I don't. Like what exactly do you mean by I hope there are more things like this? What I think it is I hope there are many more companies that I have leverage over that I can get a piece of. And so it's like, what constitutes leverage? If somebody is advantaged by your tariffs, do you now have leverage over them and they should be grateful? I think he would, even if he won't say yes out loud, I think he believes yes. I think this is a guy who, in a business context, Drew, one of the most important things as an entrepreneur you have to be able to do is recognize where you have leverage. And by the way, not just recognize where you have it, you have to position yourself to get it. So if he's now got the controls of the US government, he's like, okay, he has a process that he's trained himself to run in his brain nonstop. I need to build leverage, some leverage that I know how I'm going to use right now today, and some leverage I don't know how I'm going to use, but I know it'll be advantageous to me down the road somewhere. And if he starts doing that, he's going to realize, oh man, I can pull a lot of levers. Like these do a lot of things. Like when you're the president, like you can really do some shit. And so he can start putting himself in a position where he has tremendous power over our all of our capitalist entities. And if he's looking at Xi and he's like, yo, I really do like that he just puts an official in the company and is like, okay, listen, car manufacturers, I'm going to need you guys all to vote as one block because I'm going to use you as negotiating power against India, US, whatever. So here's the party line, do as you're fucking told, or suddenly you're going to find yourself being re-educated. And then they just do it. And that's the kind of thing that I could see Trump being like, that's pretty dope. Like, listen, I'm not trying to take over these industries. Xi doesn't take over the industry. He lets them compete. But boy, oh boy.
I just have some notes.
Yes.
I have some notes.
I have some notes. And, look, don't be intimidated by all the guys with the guns. You know what I mean? Like, they're just notes, Drew. Just take the good ones, everybody. So, yeah, I unfortunately can see him really enjoying, like, oh, America, we got you 10% of this, and we got you 5% of that, and we got you 50% of TikTok. And right now, I almost feel worse that they realize that it's not going to be popular to start a sovereign wealth fund where they take your tax dollars and they buy something. But he is expecting it to be very popular that he can get you stuff for free. And so he's going to be looking for those leverage points, which all look like him hitting a big stick, going, hey. So, yeah, I hate that.
Okay, so I'm conflicted. Again, I've been reading Atlas Shrugged later, and the entire inciting incident is one of the mines got nationalized. So I'm automatically like, government control, bad.
Yep.
On one side, we have the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Hypothetically speaking, it includes $500 billion in tariff revenue, 10% of Intel, 20% of TikTok, 5% of these other organizations, and that's growing in a stock market, in a portfolio, et cetera. On the other side, to your point, should the government be in bed with these people? The CHIPS Act, we put up $100 billion on initial estimates that's been paid so far. And with that, we didn't, quote unquote, get anything back. That's Trump's words. So instead of me just giving you money or investing in a resource or investing in an industry, at least now I have a percentage of it and I'm on the upswing. I have the upside leverage.
Yeah, but so this is where people really rightfully start going crazy about the idea of corruption. And so part of what makes the government work is that the government isn't getting anything back from the things that they try to create the soil in which their people can thrive.
Gotcha.
Once you understand the government's job is not to feed the government, it's not to grow the government, it's to support the people, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I get what this is. So you want to create the soil. So the government should think of itself as my job is to make sure that the soil has a ton of nutrients so that the farmers can go out and do their thing. And so where do we need to put a little bit of nutrients to make sure that those things can grow? And then you want to see them grow. And if you start getting a monopoly or something like that, consider those weeds or consider that a locust swarm, and I've got to go deal with that. Cool. That, yeah, 100%. The government should be doing that. What the government shouldn't be doing is betting on farms and saying, ooh, I want this farm to win because this farm is a little bit better for me. And then me suddenly becomes, well, it starts by saying that me is the American people. Then me becomes me, the politician. And that's where all of this stuff gets dangerous. And so again, China is showing you what that model looks like. And my fear is because it is successful, there's no denying that people will look at that and go, oh, I want to do that. And I would say that China is better, way better for politicians than it is for the average person. Now, we are about to find out how true that is because remember, this system for a long time was starving tens of millions of people to death. America has never done that. So black mark on China. But then China pulled people out of poverty faster than we did. So that's a win in China's column. But now that Xi Jinping is in power and nobody can stop him, this is the thing that democracies are meant to protect against. Because democracies are worse when you have a string of like so-so leaders, right? Like, oh God, we're just pulling back and forth from one side to another. And when you've got somebody like Deng Xiaoping, who's like yanking China out of poverty, you're like, yo, like we're falling behind. Like these guys, they're really fucking killing it. We're over here, like this sucks. Like we have constant gridlock. We're not able to get any momentum. Everybody's thinking short term. I don't want to be a part of this. This is super lame. I want to be, or even like people looking at the UAE, like bro, like we got to be like the UAE. We got to be like China. Like these guys are moving a lot faster. And it's like when one of those motherfuckers breaks bad, they start killing people left, right, and center. And they will take you down the darkest of dark roads for like 100 years. This is the thing that we're protecting against. So people need to understand it's entirely possible that Xi is about to move them backwards like 70 years because he has like real Leninist, Marxist theories. And those have proven throughout history to just be an absolute bloodbath. Xi is about reconsolidating power, thinking that your entrepreneurs are getting too uppity and literally re-educating them. So that's where it's like, hey, be careful because if you could have a benevolent dictator, like if Jesus came down from heaven and he was willing to run America, oh, cool. But alas, it tends not to be that way. And this is why people say absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so once you have somebody in that role who is not responsible to anything other than their ability to maintain like cohesion, they will maintain cohesion through violence. And it just is, man, over and over and over and over and over. So that's what the American system is meant to protect against.
Is like from a larger scale, is there a situation in which maybe we VC some companies as America? Because America does, I know we're not supposed to and all these other things, but where we are right now, America does invest in the industries. It does give government subsidies to companies. There are private companies that have government contracts. We've seen Palantir is taking care of the whole military.
Okay, careful. You're putting a lot of different, very disparate things on the table.
Yeah.
So the government needs things. It is inevitable that people are going to supply them things. But do you really want your largest customer to act like an owner? No, you don't. Because now what you do is if I'm Palantir and I realize the US government is just going to want ownership of me, then I start diversifying and I'm not going to put as much energy into the US government. I'm going to start going to do things other places. Maybe I supply weapons for South America or the Middle East or whatever. And then America's like, whoa, hold on. And so then that person's like, okay, I can't even do this in this jurisdiction, so I'm going to move to Singapore. And I'm going to keep doing it, but I'm just not going to live in America. That's not the incentive structure that you want to set up. So people are going to supply the government. You want them to supply the government and you want them to give a good price to the government and all that. But you should treat the government like you would treat a customer. You should treat them well. You should care very much about what their needs are. But there's a reason that we have like anti-corruption acts where you can't just go in and bribe people. And I would say we should want the same thing in the opposite direction, where the government can't threaten their contractors or try to take pieces of their company and have undue influence in the company, et cetera, which they will inevitably do. So all of that strikes me as a terrible idea. Okay, there was something though that you put on the table before government contractors. Oh, so the investment side that I think is really interesting is look at what he's saying to Harvard, where it's like, hey, we're giving you all these federal grants, subsidies, and you guys are doing all this research. You walk away with the patents. The American people walk away with nothing. That one I actually like. So that makes sense to me. Like, hey, we're going to fund this research. And now let's make it such that the researcher can participate, the university can participate, and the US people can participate. Cool, love that. And so now if that patent's being used anywhere, that gets shared. The taxpayers paid for it, which we were going to do anyway, and now we get some return. And if everybody's in the mix, that one I don't have a beef with. But what I have, because that is all like, it might not amount to anything. We have no idea. So the one where I have a beef is where you're trying to like take, like if they were getting a piece of Harvard, I wouldn't go for it. But if they're like, hey, look, we're doing a joint venture, we're funding all these research grants, and now we want to reap some of the benefits if it turns into anything, love. But taking a piece of Harvard as we go, not so much.
So you're okay with getting a piece of the invention, the end product, but not necessarily the piece of the company itself?
Yes, because in this particular instance, I don't know why we're giving them subsidies in the first place. Yeah. So when you look at somewhere like Harvard, they have like $50 billion in it might be more, in their endowment. So these are people that could run their own university. They have been enriching themselves and their board of directors for God knows how long off of the back of taxpayers. So that one's wild to me, where I'm just like, hold on, something is super weird here. So if you wanted to take it in the form of you have to spend 80% of that money to admitting new students, okay, I could see something like that. And so it's like the government, let's say, blanket funds every university that meets a certain requirement, that you have to be, let's say, almost entirely U.S. student base. Cool. I could see things like that where it just becomes part of the economic engine that we use to fund making education free or freer. But that's not what we do. We bring in students from all over the world, which is a great thing when taxpayers aren't funding it. Like, I love that. I love being a beacon for the smartest people around the world. I know that this is unpopular, but I love the idea of, hey, you just came here to study in America. We want to have the opportunity to hire you in America. So offering some sort of green card process to get people in. I think America needs to be the beacon for the best and the brightest, with the caveat of make sure that you're only importing people with shared values, people that are going to assimilate. But that I love. What I don't love is American taxpayers spending a ton of money on education that goes into these research things where they develop patents. And then oftentimes, actually, I don't know this, but I have a feeling that even the researchers don't benefit that much from what they invent, hypothesis, but certainly the universities do. So that one doesn't seem sensical to me. But I would also be all for if we said that we don't fund these universities.
Copy. On a tangent, Bush Camp Dad is on the Twitch chat.
Is he really?
Yeah, shouted you out.
Bush Camp Dad, I've been watching you recently on your stream. I've loved this guy.
He said, Tom should run for president. So,
I should not. And Bush Camp Dad, you know better than that. But he inspired me to start streaming. So when you were heckling me, I thought maybe, because he's roughly my age, but as a game streamer, is fantastic, by the way. Won like gaming competitions when he was young, but has continued to game now as an adult, does Fortnite. So you have me at hello. So anyway, Bush Camp Dad, I've been thinking about you recently. It's wonderful to see you here. So I hope you're well.
Speaking of gaming really quick, Nathan M. did ask for an update on the dev of your game.
Okay, when people ask about Kaizen, I always feel like this is setting the teacher up because everybody knows that he's like an addict that can't help himself but talk about that topic for way too long.
And then everybody sneaks out and starts
exactly.
sleeping.
Like, oh, cool, I don't have to pay attention. So I'll give a super quick update. It's going incredibly well. Was playing it this weekend. It is really getting good. I had 2 kids staying here. Lisa's godchildren were here over the weekend.
I was like, please put a disclaimer on that.
Yeah, right. I was like, okay, I better
kids.
explain this. It sounds super weird. Welcome to Neverland Ranch. Is it weird they were sleeping in my room?
Too far.
All right. So Lisa's godsons were here with their parents, by the way. So the whole family was here. Lovely family. Love them to death. And they're 9 and 13. And so Lisa was like, oh, you should show them Kaizen. So I was like, oh, yeah, it'd be awesome. Show them Kaizen. They have a great time. They're competing against each other. Who can do better? And then the next day, we're playing Fortnite. And I'm not kidding, without prompting, they were like, actually, we don't want to play Fortnite anymore. Can we play Kaizen again? And I was like, okay, let's go. So without any prompting, they could play whatever they wanted, and they wanted to play Kaizen. That was really encouraging. So we're still, call it just under 2 years from being able to justify charging people money, but it really is getting good. And the fact that I still have 2 years before I need to charge people money is very encouraging for how much we can finesse it. So we'll be doing another community play test before the end of the year. So I'll be very excited for people to see the progress.
Nice.
And then we did also have some feedback on your take on Trump.
Let's go.
That I wanted to give you, see how you respond to this.
Yes, please.
First from Sparky. Stop saying all politicians lie like this. Trump lies way more, and you keep equalizing it when you wave it off as something all politicians
I don't think that's true.
do.
So, I mean, look, this is obviously gut instinct, so fair enough. I am never going to state that I have secret information or anything like that. This is largely looking at things throughout history and seeing that there is always a discrepancy between the public message and then the things that come out over time. But I do have a default assumption that all politicians lie all the time. Ironically, though, I think we may disagree even more because I think Trump reveals himself far more than the vast majority of politicians. Like if you take somebody like Obama was slick. He is a very good orator. I don't think he leaks information the way that Trump does. I'm not sure which is better. Like as a world leader, you being able to keep your cards close to your chest is probably good. But nonetheless, I don't think Trump uniquely lies. That certainly is not my take. I think what you're picking up on is he says outlandish shit all the time. And so maybe where we differ is he'll say more blatantly lie-y stuff, whereas other people they fail to disclose until the end of time. And then they put like a nice simple veneer over it. Everything is fine. Maybe that's what you mean. And in that fair, it's very different because Trump says wild shit all the time. But in terms of concealment and things like that, he does way, 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 way less because he can't help himself.
In Sparky's defense, they did a fact check from the debate. I think the one with Hillary or something like that, where Trump was lying 1,000 lies and Hillary had like 17. So it's like Trump's bombasticness, I think, adds to that. I'm the greatest president ever. They probably counted that as a lie.
Correct.
So
and look, he does
like
say weird shit. There's no doubt about that. But it's interesting. I put a very big. They map very differently to me, and I hope nobody hears me saying like, "Oh, Trump is uniquely honest." I certainly don't think that, but I do think. Like if you guys were around in the 90s and you saw Clinton under oath being like, I did not have sex with that woman. Just categorically, like lying right to your face. And then when the truth came out, he said, I'm not joking. Someone can fact check me on this. Like, oh yeah, I thought it was really weird that you guys defined sex as penetration. So it was like, bro, come on.
We just get over the cover stuff.
He was like, look, it was just oral. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So it was like, oh my God. I was like, if you actually think that made you truthful because they defined sex as like intercourse and you only had some quick blowies, I was like, yo. So this is one of those where, does Trump say a bunch of like little stuff where you're like, wait, there's no way that's true? And that he's always doing I'm the greatest of all time. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. These are the best numbers ever. And you're like, wait a second, 3 months ago it was different. So some of it is, does he believe it? Is it a verbal tick? Even I find myself going to write something in a deep dive that I know to be true. And then I'm like, well, I know to be true in the living room, but do I know to be true for a deep dive where I know people are going to fact check me to death? And so then I'll go look it up and I'll be like, oh shit, like this actually isn't true. Like there was one stat in the upcoming deep dive that I had where men are at 16% unemployment. And I was like, we haven't seen that since the Great Depression. Like that's wild. And then I looked it up. And briefly, after 2008, there was 19% unemployment. It's like, okay, because of this gigantic crisis. But it was one of those where I would have said it, actually believed it, but at the same time, it's also not true. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's no sense in defending Trump. Trump for sure lies. I just think that all politicians as a class lie. He lies in a different way. Anyway, I think everybody should map politicians. Just assume the vast majority of the things they say are either an outright lie or a frame of reference. They're trying to control your frame of reference to see them in a favorable light. Maybe that's the right way to think about it. They're all trying to control your frame of reference.
Copy. That's it for the chat. All right, moving on. You brought this up in the intro, and it is true. The Cracker Barrel has rescinded their new rebrand. They put the cracker back next to the barrel.
There it is.
He's back. And I wanted to talk about this, but instead of getting into the minutia of like this specific business woes, there was a TikToker that kind of broke down all of the remodifications of a lot of our fast food 90s tenants.
Crashing out over capitalism. Let's hear it.
So this, by the way, is all because of Wall Street. This is all because of the stock market, because of investors, private equity, and the demand to get more value to shareholders.
This
correct. Has nothing to do with wokeness.
And by the way,
DEI.
The thing that he's talking, this is everything went from like these super custom things to like these gray boxes. So everything getting simplified. He's not wrong about this.
You stupid sleeping babies. Okay? I'm going to explain this to you. McDonald's, the way McDonald's is structured is McDonald's owns the land underneath this building. They own the land. They're the biggest landholders in the United States when it comes to commercial properties. The franchisees then rent the building on top of them. And you know what happens? Sometimes McDonald's go out of business. And when McDonald's goes out of business, they want to put a different business in there and they want to sell the land underneath it. Well, guess what? When you have a building that can only be a McDonald's or can only be a Pizza Hut or can only be a Cracker Barrel or only be a Taco Bell, guess what? It's harder to sell those businesses. So every business has slowly been turning into a gray or beige box because you know what happens when you put a vape store inside of an old Pizza Hut? We all call it, the vape store inside of the old Pizza Hut. Now, in the future, they'll just...
Who do you think he's mad at, Drew? He doesn't know who he's mad at. He thinks he knows. He thinks he's mad at Wall Street. But who's he really mad at?
Inflation? I don't know.
The person that wants 3 burgers for 99
That's
cents.
the default answer.
Like, it's a good default. It is a good default. It's like my wife says a quote and she's like, you know what that quote's from? I'm like, Friends. It's like, you just might as well default to Friends. Like whatever quote my wife is doing is guaranteed to be from Friends. So
he's mad at the person that wants 3 cheeseburgers for 99 cents.
Correct. So everybody wants things cheap. So the business is like, oh, cool. I know. Like, so when I'm teaching entrepreneurship and Impact Theory University, sign up immediately. I am always trying to get them to identify the hard, like find the hard. When you find the hard, go solve that thing. That's how you start a business. If there's nothing hard for you to solve, there's probably not a big business opportunity there. You're probably somewhere with high sex appeal. So like game development. If you're not doing something new and original, you're gonna have a very hard time. So the hard thing is finding something new and original to do. So in anything in Quest, finding the hard was manufacturing the equipment. So you've gotta find all of that stuff. Otherwise, people are just going to move on to the next thing because you haven't done anything for them that, like, businesses solve problems, period. So the problem that a McDonald's solves is I'm going to provide you food that you like to eat at a price that you're willing to pay in a way that's super convenient. So when they did it in the beginning, it was like, I'm going to get you food that you want to eat at a price that you're willing to pay in a way that's convenient, and I'm going to entertain your kids. Now, once "and I'm going to entertain your kids" stop being profitable, then it doesn't make sense. The consumer is telling you, I don't care about that. I care about the first 3 things. So
hold on, let me jump in there because I know we talk about like consumers vote with their feet, things like that. So if McDonald's, after they removed Play Place, everybody stopped going to McDonald's, they would have brought it right back.
Immediately.
Got it.
Immediately. And so what they would do is they would go, in a given area, like when I was a kid, not all McDonald's had a Play Place. And so McDonald's corporate is looking at that and going, do we make more money in the places with Play Places or not? And for a while, I'm sure they did. And then over time, it stopped. And so they were like, okay, cool. People don't care about that. So now we're going to swap that out, and all the ones in the future are going to be without. Then they start doing, okay, when one of these goes out of business, like every time we think about opening a new location, we're going to think about the full life cycle. How many years do we expect it to be there? At what point do we expect that this might go away? When it goes away, how are we going to be able to flip it? They will know all of these details, and all of those details will be priced in to the cost of a burger. And so what they realize is, oh, cool, to give you the thing that you were telling me, dear customer, that you want the cheap burger. Got it, heard. So that means that I have to make the businesses look like this. So they make a couple businesses look like that, and they go, did revenue decline? No, it did not. Great, nobody cared about the unique roof. Cool, easy peasy. And so now that's gonna be more profitable. Now I can charge less for the burger or keep the burger at low price. And so I get it, like especially he's a guy of a certain age, if you grew up with the cool roofs, like you get kind of bummed that like it's all looking gray boxy. But dude, even in a video game, when you're developing the video game, you constantly have to think about CPU resources, GPU resources. It's like, am I going to melt this computer? So all of a sudden you start going, hey, that texture on the grass, I'm going to use that texture on like this creature's fur. I'm going to use that texture on like this distant mountain. And you just try to have very few master textures that are everywhere, even though they look slightly differently in different places. Long story how you do it. But like that becomes a game of optimization. And so, and that you're trying to keep the cost of the game development down. So you're going to recycle assets, tweak it a little bit, change the color, whatever. And this is how you keep the cost down. So it's like, dude, your money has physics. Businesses have physics. And he's like arguing against the thing where the consumer is the problem. Because there is a greedy capitalist right now being like, yo, dope roofs, like let that come back in style. So that'll be my differentiator against McDonald's. I'm gonna fucking hit them. I'm gonna have a play place. This is gonna be the dopest shit ever. All I have to do is solve the insurance problem. Word. And the problem is solving the insurance problem isn't gonna help you because people don't trust a restaurant with their kids like that anymore. So parents aren't like, I'm gonna take my kid to fucking McDonald's. But if somebody's smart, they're looking at, ooh, okay, wealth inequality. Yep, it's doing its thing. Okay, people are getting poorer and poorer. So now how do I go serve the poor? This was like Magic Johnson, fucking brilliant. He would go into underserved areas and he would build like amazing shit. And he made himself ridiculously wealthy doing that. So trust me, at all times, there are capitalists looking for that opportunity. And if a red roof with weird fucking shingles was it, people would do it. So he's mad at Wall Street, but the reality is this is just people trying to pass on the savings.
Okay, so this is my thing, and I need to put these feelings somewhere, so I'm going to ask the most capitalist that I know.
I think I was just insulted, chat. I'm pretty sure that was a slur.
Right now, turning your building into a gray box, it's almost like you're hedging your bets. If this does go bad, I am going to have to sell this building. This is going to make it easier to sell. It's going to make it easier for my exit. This is the second CEO problem. Like Ray Kroc loved the Golden Arches. It was his idea to do the land thing. So he was the one like, everybody's going to see a Golden Arches from a mile away. You're going to see it. You're going to smell it. It's iconic. So then this other guy comes in who's a Wall Street investment banker, or he's a consultant for the last 2 years. He's like, nah, forget that. We're going to make it a gray box so we can sell it and increase our stock price. So to me, he is the bad guy because the founder wanted the red and the yellow and the arches and all these things. Yeah. What happened to, I feel like Silicon Valley gets away with this because Mark Zuckerberg cannot turn a profit for 30 years and then come back and be like, okay, now we can put on ads and now it's going to pop. Whereas they're allowed to maintain their culture in order for the betterment of the product long term, where a lot of these box stores are like, nah, fuck it, let's just go straight gray box and just increase stock price now, as opposed to making it fun. Like in the 90s, the purple and blue Taco Bell was hot. Like that was cool. Like the play place was somewhere to, you know what I mean? I think if a play place showed up tomorrow, there'll be so many people that be like, oh yeah, I like that. I'll go to a play place. But it's not there anymore, so people don't go to it. And they say, you see, we don't care about it. But it's like, y'all took it away from us. We didn't have an option. So rant done. But you get what I'm saying? Like,
yes, and I love this. This is so interesting. Yeah. Okay, we'll see if chat cares about this. But my speed run on that is you've put your finger on the exact right thing, which is when a founder starts a company, they are almost always mission driven, and that mission will make them do really counterintuitive things. Those counterintuitive things are exactly what makes a company valuable. So at Quest, we started that with the idea of ending metabolic disease. And so instead of doing what everybody else did, which was put high fructose corn syrup in their bar when they realized you can't run it on the equipment, we said, well, hold on, that's not our mission. So we're going to do this thing that nobody would ever fund because it seemed completely moronic. And we're going to engineer our own equipment. Of course, that's exactly one of the things that led to the company being very successful. Cool. Brilliant. Impact theory. I start, mindset, it's what I'm known for, cool, do my thing, and channel explodes. COVID hits, and I'm like, hold on, these people that I love and care about are about to get like run over by something. And I want to make financial content to help them out. And then my own team was like, what are you doing? This is crazy. You're going to wildly damage the channel. And I did. And I took our revenue down, and it was brutal from a revenue perspective. But from a self-respect perspective, it felt awesome because I was like, this really matters to me. I really now feel like I'm helping people. The only reason I did mindset was I believed it was a thing with my talent, intelligence, skill set. This is the best thing I can do to help people. Now that this is happening, this is the best thing that I can do to help people. And so from a business perspective, if I were a public company, that would have been like the board would have ousted me. They would have found somebody else. Like that would have been insane. They never would have gone through that. So 100% founders are able to do things because they are driven by something other than just profit. But ultimately, a company has to stay in business. And so over time, like even look at Apple, over time, they go into a revenue optimization phase of their development. That's where Apple is now. And I mean, to give Tim Cook his flowers, he has made Apple way more money than Steve Jobs ever did. But Steve Jobs put them in a place that they could revenue maximize. And if Tim Cook had founded the company, it never would have gotten off the ground. So it would have just been like any other PC product, right? He would have optimized all the stuff behind the scenes, but there never would have been any soul. There never would have been any brand that really attracted people. So that is a real phenomenon. But like once you spread it across like the entire landscape, you're going to get some metas. And he can do whatever he wants because of the way he structured his voting shares. So he's going to forever, literally forever, be able to do whatever he wants. And then there are going to be other companies that don't have that. They're later in their cycle. And so they're going to be on a totally different thing. Sophisticated investors will know how to treat different things differently. Early stage investors almost never give money to somebody that doesn't have a founder mentality. So they're always looking for that, but it's like, you just sort of have to take it all the way across the board, that some things are going to be like that crazy thing that people are trying. And then other things are going to be, well, I know this works, optimization, and it starts losing its soul over time. And so the world has always been that mix. It will always be that mix. And so what he is lamenting is largely that we've watched, because we're not even in second generation founder CEO. We're like third, fourth, fifth generation CEO across these companies. And so it's new ways of revenue maximizing that we're seeing manifest in buildings. So the thing I'm trying to point out for people is this is always going to be the cycle. And so I get why people are traumatized. I'm traumatized over the death of the film industry. I'm traumatized over, dude, IP as a thing is dying. Like it just doesn't, like to TikTok generation, they just don't really care. Like stories don't get inside their soul. And for me, because stories embed themselves so deeply in my soul, that really is sad to me. But I've built a frame of reference that says never argue with what is true. And what is true is the world is moving increasingly in that direction. So fighting against it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, to me, this is just a guy crashing out over the realities of capitalism. And if there is a capitalistic opportunity, somebody will exploit it. If play places really are a brilliant idea, then you or somebody else should do it and find out, right? And then that's the world that we all get to live in. This is exactly why I don't want Trump or any other government getting involved in things, because now you start robbing from those counterintuitive decisions that a founder would make. Because you look at him and you're like, hold on a second, like that's not what we want as a country. I don't want somebody trying that. That's wild. And so you just start putting pressure on them. We want the Mavericks. America should be the nation of Mavericks. But we're going to, if we let the government get involved, we are going to gray boxify everything.
Ipso facto. Okay. You talked me off a ledge. I see it. Somebody
Are you going to start the play place?
I'm definitely
I want
not.
to see what happens.
I'm gonna
nights and weekends though, Drew.
Yo, you said
I want to keep you here.
You said something very like impactful that I quote way too much. Where not every good idea needs to be executed by me.
Yeah.
And that was like a trauma I had to give up because I was so like, it's a good idea. I got one. Hold on.
Yeah.
And I was so like, I need to go do it. And it's just like, nah, not every good idea. If you don't have that second, third order care and all these other things, it's just an idea, and everybody has a bunch of those.
Yeah. Too true.
Somebody in the chat was talking about Dan Silk. He was talking about the meme, who stole all the color from culture. I seen it floating around. I was trying to look for it real quick. I couldn't pull it up. But it was like in the 80s, it was a bunch of colorful cars. And now in 2025, it's muted. And I feel like this is similar to this, where we're saying because of these things are changing, the consumer doesn't want it. But I'm going to be honest. I don't think anybody here, if their McDonald's still had a red top, they would have been upset. But I think we don't go to McDonald's for the red top. We go for the burger. So at that point, is it just one of those things that this was just the icing on the cake and we realize you guys don't care about the cake, so we just took away the icing?
The way to think about all this is you have to imagine that business is staring at a bunch of spreadsheets, and there are things that they want people to be into. So for instance, you guys will notice this Monday's deep dive just absolutely smashed. And the deep dive before it was another big hit. The deep dive before that was sort of middle of the road. The one that did middle of the road was me just writing from the heart, just like, this is what's on my mind. And boy, do I hope that there are other people that are into this. The ones that have smashed have been me going, where is the overlap of things that I care about? And the world at large is already screaming, saying, I care about this too. And so making that concentrated effort to find the overlap. So there, and it performs much, much, much better. And so that was a very conscious choice that we all made as a team. Like, this is what we need to focus on. This is what we need to do. So imagine people are just poring over these spreadsheets and they are looking at like cars, for instance. And they're saying, okay, bright yellow cars, red cars, whatever. They're really hard to manage the inventory because while there are some people out there that want a bright red car and they really want to make a statement, it is extremely hard to know where they're going to be because there's such a small subset. And so if it's like, let's say 15% of the world wants a crazy colored car, but 85% of the world wants like one of the stock 3, it's like you almost, from a business perspective, you can't even be distracted by the 15% because if the 15% take 40 or 50% of your energy to figure out like where to send them, how to move them, those cars aren't really profitable. You just look at it and you go, we don't make enough money to deal with this. So to your point, it's not that nobody wants it. And it's certainly not that the world wouldn't be slightly more interesting. Like, I don't need to own the red car, but I want to see the red car. Or I don't want my house to be painted pink, but I'm glad somebody does because it makes like something more interesting. And so that's a real thing, but like there's so much friction in it from what do people actually care about? What people actually care about is getting a rad thing at a very cheap price. And so to do that, all the other things have to be optimized. And people will, every now and then, they will start a bespoke business that, in fact, so I'm not into cars, but my dad is way into cars. And when I first came into money, I rented a Lamborghini so that my dad could drive it. And the whole time I was so annoyed because everything in the car is bespoke. So like, you're in a Toyota, every knob button has been mass produced literally millions of times. And so they are all perfect. In a Lamborghini, everything is like a one-off. So it all feels like janky. And so I'm like, how is this super fancy car feel so janky? And it feels janky because literally that button was handcrafted by somebody. And so it mostly fits, but it doesn't have like that Apple.
Like the it's not crisp. Like the lines were a little.
Yeah, like everything's weird. Like, bro, that button is too big. Like that just looks silly. So it is a totally different world when things are like handcrafted, and some people are way into it, and other people like me, it's like I want all that mass produced like Apple phones where like the bevel is perfect. So you might say that an Apple phone is soulless compared to like some custom made thing, but yeah, I'll take my mass produced on certain things.
Okay, Over the Street said possibly second and third order consequences is at the split between the 1% and 99% gross. The average quote unquote poor consumer's influence on the direction of the things is reduced. The rich, they want more status and money and not necessarily diversity of environments or items. So that changes lead to homogeny and optimization, which by default will begin in less unique and more samey.
The exact opposite is true.
But I mean, to your point, the asset holders are the rich. So number go up, they buy more.
But who do they sell to? They're such a small demographic that, yeah, they're influencing how yachts are made. They're influencing the fancy things that they buy. But if you look at the fancy things that they buy, they want the one-off shit. They don't want the mass-produced. They want the janky Lamborghini. They want it to be like, this is as close to a one-of-one as possible. The guy that I bought this house from, he had like all these supercars in literally where we are sitting now to film used to be supercars. And I was looking at it and he's telling me these stories and how much he pays for them. And he was like, but you got to convince them to let you buy it. Like you have to have bought so many Ferraris before they'll give you access to like the really unique Ferraris. And all that. Bro. So I was like, the fuck is this? Yeah. I was just like, this is not my bag at all. I do not care about this stuff. Same thing with watches. I couldn't care less. But like a unique skin in Fortnite, I'm here for that. So it's like, everybody influences their thing, right? Yeah. So what is when you start thinking about the masses, like what do they buy? That's where you start seeing the thing that they care about is price, convenience, They don't necessarily care about the uniqueness. The uniqueness really starts coming in the high end where everybody wants to flex on you. They want to be like, bro, you don't have like a Birkin bag? Like, shh. Or the watches. Dude, I'm so oblivious to that stuff. I know when I go out in public, if somebody sees me, nobody's going to think I have money. They're going to look at me and be like, bro, dresses in the most like basic bitch shit ever. He's got no jewelry, and I'm perfectly fine with that. The thing I care about, I spend my money on building a video game. Like that is the thing where I splash millions of dollars, lavish. Like I want to make this thing fucking dope. So that's my shtick. Everybody's got their thing, but understanding that the masses are the masses for a reason, that when you look at the Nordic countries, the reason that they're able to do the gigantic welfare state that they can do is that they tax the masses, not the elite. The elite are just too small. So I get why people are mad at people who are rich. I get why people are mad at the wealth discrepancy. But in terms of who can actually control what gets made, it's not the wealthy. They just don't represent enough dollars when you take in the whole world. Because people are confusing wealth with real money, just as a reminder.
What's the chat saying?
So can you tease out the dissonance between this idea that like capitalism leads to spreadsheets and becomes soulless over time, but on the other hand, those spreadsheets are meant to optimize for what the consumer actually wants. So when you have people looking at money, they're looking for what people want, but then that becomes soulless. So how does that happen?
Welcome to We're the Villain. We're the villain. If we stop wanting cheap shit and we're willing to save our money for that one like bespoke fucking flat TV that we can bring people over and be like, yo, look at my TV. It's in a 90-degree angle. Isn't that wild? And it's got jewels and shit on it. Like once we're willing to do that, then there'll be a bunch of bespoke companies that will spin up and they will make that thing. But the reality is that's not what people want. People want most of their stuff, not all of it, but they want most of their stuff to be cheap. Make things cheap. And so every business learns, oh shit, you just want me to optimize. You just want me to have this on sale. Not every brand goes for it. Apple's going in the exact opposite direction. They're making shit more expensive. Anything in luxury brand territory. They are trying, and this was part of the scandal of when the Chinese were like, oh, you want to fucking play with tariffs? We're going to tell everybody that Birkin bag actually only costs $30 and you retail it for like $60,000 or whatever stupid price they put on it. And so people are all of a sudden like, wait a second. But that's the point. The point is it can be ugly as long as everybody knows it was expensive. And so like that's like a totally different game. The average person wants things high quality, very little money. Period.
Lisa also brought up
my wife?
Yes.
I haven't seen her today.
She's in the chat. She was talking about her watches, and she brought up the pumpkin pie bar that you guys didn't make for ages.
Apparently, you guys didn't make a pumpkin pie bar.
We did.
No, she said at first you didn't, and then something happened that made you guys want to make one.
I'm not entirely sure what she's picking up on there, but we did the pumpkin pie bar as a seasonal bar. So we found a way to use that as like, okay, we know it won't sell the year round, but we can build hype on it for this very narrow window, and based on the hype, we can sell that thing. So I'm not sure if that's what she's talking about, but it was never going to be something that we would do profitably throughout the year. It was like a really weird bar, had a different coat, all these different things in it. And so whether we made money off the pumpkin pie bar, I don't know. But as a marketing thing to get a whole bunch of attention, because remember, we were like pioneers in influencer marketing. And so we were trying to do the like, how do you get what we now call influencers? How do you get them to pay attention? How do you get them to talk about this thing? And so by doing that special thing, by doing it just around Halloween, by like making it this big extravagant thing, we got people to talk about it. But
she said people were asking for it for years, but we held off for ages because we needed enough community to make it worth it.
Yeah. And we knew that we wouldn't be able to hold it out for years, for the whole year, because people just go off of it. And the profit margins were too small. But yesterday, Drew and I recorded a piece of content. Call it the comment section. We are well aware that that is already a show, but you guys will get the idea. So it was about the most recent deep dive that we did on Monday that's going viral. Wonderful. And basically the theme of half the comments was, Tom, this is oversimplified. Tom, there's nuance here that you're not acknowledging. Okay. Yes, This is all true. Where Lisa's dragging you is into, now we're getting into nuance. Now we're getting into the depths. This is the kind of thing that I wouldn't even teach to like 0 to founder. If I were teaching entrepreneurship, I'm not even going to talk about that. Like, do the basics first, get blocking and tackling right. Now, if we want to have a conversation where we go deep into the weeds and the nuance of building hype and all that stuff, and like using a lost leader, something that you're actually losing money on, but you know that you're going to recoup it on the back end for whatever reason. That was the pumpkin pie bar. That was why we had to build up community. That was why it was only a temporary release. It also gave us a reason every year. If you wonder why your favorite pumpkin spice latte only comes out at the holidays, it gives them something to talk about. It gives them a cue to form a habit loop. So this was Kit Kats. If you guys have ever seen the research on how Kit Kat came back from like obscurity, was they tied it to coffee. So Kit Kat became Kit Kat and coffee. And by triggering the habit loop of like, oh, every time I have coffee, I have a Kit Kat bar, boom, sales go up. But anyway, we're getting into sophisticated entrepreneur land, which I'm always happy to do. If people want to talk about it, speaking of optimizing for what you get paid for, if that's what people want to talk about, I'll go as deep as motherfuckers want.
No,
but
you brought up something earlier, and reports have been kind of swirling around. Apple has an AI problem, and they're ahead of their, I think, September 9th launch for the iPhone 17. So it's just going to be another iPhone with an additional camera. People are really starting to kind of hold back on the most innovative U.S. company. There's calls for it to buy Mistral AI. There's calls for it to buy Perplexity. But whatever they do, they even did a deal with Gemini so that way it can power their next generation Siri devices. If you were Apple, if you were Tim Cook, would you want to develop, like, how would you get their AI? How would you get them out into the new
these
AI?
guys were morons. I cannot believe what they did. This is the biggest mistake Apple has made since they fired Steve Jobs. Like, this is wild. I cannot believe that they missed AI. This is catastrophically stupid. So they need to buy one of the biggest AI companies, however many billions that's going to cost you.
They got it.
You got to buy them. You've got to put them into your phone. You've got to outperform everybody at the level of AI. AI is going to be essentially everything in the future. You go out even, I don't know, maybe 7 years, apps, what? Like, I'm not going to download somebody else's app, or maybe I will download somebody else's app, but they are going to come and go on the App Store like that. There's not going to be these big dominant things anymore. People are just going to like get AI, create a thing that does this very specific weird thing that I want done. The one that I keep coming back to is there is no satisfying app for tracking your anime and manga consumption, which is a wind up for me. Also, I would love to find a way to like do better at like creating a dashboard for my game stuff, because I am like a data junkie. So I want to see how much time did I spend on that game? Did I get the like good stuff? How much else is remaining? You sort of get stuff like that with Steam, but it's all like disaggregated. I want somebody to bring it together and like give me my virtual life dashboard. Okay, well, there's obviously not a big enough market for that, or somebody would have made it. So now you're going to see a world where there is a gazillion like these really niche things that you will just prompt the AI and it will create it for you. So that's Apple's bread and butter. Like, that's what they make their fucking money on. And so for them not to be at the forefront of this is absolutely moronic. Now, look, as a game developer, I'm well aware that people are going to play things I said in the past back on a loop. And one day somebody's going to point out, I cannot believe that Tom did not see XYZ thing coming and didn't integrate it into his game. What an idiot. So fair enough. I get it. Tim Cook is one of the greatest CEOs literally of all time. But nonetheless, Apple's going to keep dying on his watch. Like, he just doesn't understand product. And I remember saying that when Jobs died and Cook took over, I was like, uh-oh. Like, this is not a guy that understands how to innovate from a product standpoint. Steve Jobs was so like counterintuitive. He would say yes to things everybody else was like, what the fuck? Like, he just really got it. He was a tastemaker. Yeah. And when you're a tastemaker that understands engineering, he wasn't an engineer, but you're a tastemaker that understands engineering. So you understand like how to push engineers and how to get them to make something physically possible. You can create really extraordinary things, which obviously he did. So, but
Rai17 said Tim Cook needs a turtleneck. That's the problem.
He needs a turtleneck.
Turtleneck.
I don't think that's going to solve the issue.
But no, so going back to it, Apple was talking about a TV. They backed off of that. They were talking about a car. They backed off of that.
Yeah, I
they
don't
have
mind any of
$1 trillion of R&D. So it's not like they don't have the money cash on hand to do it. And to your point, they're one of the only phone providers that are pushing their prices up instead of down. Perplexity is $20 billion. That's a rounding error on Apple's report sheets. Why do you think what's going on in their mind? Why do you think it's so obvious to the public and so ominous to them?
Okay. All right. You really want to go to the deep end of entrepreneurship. So here it is, everybody. There is a concept called velocity made good, which hopefully you guys have heard me talk about before, VMG. It comes from sailing. You're trying to get somewhere in a boat. The wind is not blowing in a cooperative direction. You have to figure out how to angle your sails and tack the boat back and forth to get where you want to go. That's entrepreneurship. It is extremely hard. So just knowing what to do is not the same as being able to, if he's looking at an acquisition of something like Perplexity, he's probably asking himself, can we actually metabolize that company, or will we completely fuck them up? Because at Apple, we do not have AI expertise. We do not have it in our bones. We don't understand it, which is why we've kept trying to integrate it, and it's just not worked at all. And so companies have real personalities based on the people, based on the culture. And so certain things just aren't going to work in certain people's hands. They may not even be able to recognize what's good AI and what's bad AI. So they don't trust themselves. They don't trust themselves to be counterintuitive. They don't trust themselves to like pick the right thing. And so you get in a circumstance where they were unable to do anything with, I can't even remember her name, Alexa. They haven't been able to do anything
Siri.
with Siri. Thank you. They haven't, right, of course. They haven't been able to do anything with Siri. They have had all the failed product launches that you're talking about. And so internally as a culture, they're realizing, like we don't trust ourselves. We don't know how to pick the right thing. We know how to manufacture. Like we can make the headset, but nobody wants to use the headset. Whoopsies. So that is a sign of Tim Cook. Tim Cook is unbelievably good at manufacturing and just-in-time fulfillment and all that, like really, really potentially once in a generation good, but he is not product good. And so when you have a company that isn't product good from the top down and you need to integrate a product, you're going to be in real trouble. And part of what Sam Altman is proving is that he's not only good at AI development, that he's good at AI, the product. So if you're one of the biggest AI people in the world and you've got Meta trying to get you on board, you've got OpenAI trying to get you on board, you've got, a handful of other companies trying to get you on board.
Cursor, Claude, Perplexity.
Yeah, and so they all have street cred, and Apple is like, if you're a computer engineer, do you want to work for, let's flash back to like the 2010, do you want to go work at Apple or do you want to go work at Microsoft? You want to go work at Apple. And so Apple was able to gobble up all the talent. And the only talent that Microsoft was going to be able to get were people that couldn't get a job at Apple. And so you just keep creating this gap of talent. So people that are really good at AI, the last place they want to go is Apple. And so now Apple, because of their cultural problems, team problems from an AI perspective, they're just not able to get people. Because if I'm an AI guy, I'm like, these guys, not only do they not have faith in themselves, I don't have faith in them. So I don't want to go work there.
Man.
So is there anything to, like, Apple is notoriously late to the party, but then does the thing the best? That's kind of like their shtick.
They're thinking of Steve Jobs.
And
Apple
so
is no longer that company.
They just haven't gotten there yet because
Nope.
AI is going so fast?
Nope.
Or they want it to be private, and so they want to do it on device,
Nope.
and then they have to make the chips better first.
False.
Okay.
0 for 4. Nope.
So this is a structural problem. So the reason that they keep missing is that Tim Cook does not have the right frame of reference to build this out. He doesn't have the ability to get an AI person who could go anywhere, sell to any company, excited to come work for him. So he can throw money at it, and he should throw money at it, and they should absolutely buy an entire AI company and then get somebody that's got strong leadership to fold under Apple and then stay the fuck out of their way. And you're going to have to treat them like Steve Jobs used to treat like the Mac team, flew the pirate flag over them, treated them as like a skunk works project. If Tim Cook can do that and let them like really build something incredible and then can facilitate the deep integration, because you don't want it to feel like a bolt-on. If he can do that and recognize, okay, cool, I'm not going to be good at this. I've already proven that. So let me get somebody in here that's a complete team. They're excited. They have a mission. And now we're just going to integrate. That is about his only shot. Now, I don't know enough about Tim Cook's personality to know if he'll be able to do that or not. Some people just absolutely, they're so good at what they do that they confuse that for being good at everything. So I don't know if he would just constantly put roadblocks in their way, or if the company culture is such that like we do these things and like let us just optimize that, bro, and we're, you know, $1 trillion plus company. And so yes, like maybe AI is going to be a thing in the future, but much like governments can't do austerity because they're like, I'll be gone by then. It's entirely possible that you just don't have somebody planning for far enough into the future. So we'll see, but they are not going to home grow AI. I will tell you that right now. So their shot is to buy it, and they should immediately. As an Apple user, I am just angry at how ridiculously trash Siri is. Trash. In 2025, if I ask Siri a question, that bitch will actually say like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Dude, it makes me want to throw my
gotta be a
phone
bitch, though.
through something. Ask her that. Ask her that, Drew.
In other AI news, AI startup Perplexity has made a $34 billion all-cash offer to acquire Google Chrome's browser. Their whole thing, Perplexity CEOs, he wants now to put AI inside of the browser. That was his whole shtick for the last 2.5 weeks.
AI is going to be everywhere, including inside your brain. So yes, it'll be in browsers. I mean that literally.
And Claude just released that they're now developing AI, Claude for Chrome, that works directly inside the browser.
Correct.
So the thing that he was just trying to build for $34 million, Claude was like, well, we're just going to integrate it and you don't even got to pay nothing for it. So.
Wow, but now it's a game of control.
Ooh. So help me parse through, how did we get AI into the browser? I was 100% thinking we were going to go her device first, but it seems like we're taking over the computer a little bit more and more.
You're still in the skeuomorphic phase where everybody's trying to make the new thing look like the old thing. You will eventually move beyond a browser. A browser doesn't even make any sense. You're going to have somebody that you talk to naturally. Just like the reason that Siri drives me so crazy is I want to just ask her a question and have her give me an AI-like answer. But unfortunately, when I ask her a question, it's like she gives me a search engine type answer. But the interface of being just like, hey, Drew, what about that thing? Like, people will do that all day. It's, in fact, one of the things that a CEO has to do is wall themselves off from the company doing that as they scale, because everyone will just walk by your desk and like, oh, just real fast. And so you have to train them. No. There have to be other methods for you to get your answer other than just come to me, even though I know them. So knowing that people have that instinct, you want to create a thing on the device that really will just give them the answer all the time, every time, super fast, in a natural, conversational way. Hey, just real fast, like Siri, like what about that? And then it delivers the goods. So yeah, right now, they know people are using the browser, so they need to be there. But I mean, give it 10 years, no one's going to be in a browser like that.
Straight to AI, don't skip the middleman.
Yeah, and look, that's me being skeuomorphic with what exists right now. I don't know the exact form factor. It could be this thing that Johnny Ive and Sam Altman are making. Yeah. It could be something else. It could be AR glasses. I mean, listen, as somebody that's gotten some early taste of where AR glasses are going, they are as awesome as people think they're going to be. They are fucking incredible. So as that technology gets better and more lightweight, dude, it's going to be surreal. You're probably just going to be talking to your contact lenses or your glasses. You're going to ask it a thing. It'll pop up. You get your answer. And then based on what you do with your eyes or whatever, it's going to go away. Like, it will be just seamless.
I want to bring something up. This is a fractal. I'm calling it right now.
Let's go.
Myra Clark said, I made an Australian male just so I can tolerate him better because the female version forgot it. She would get cussed out. And there's something to my friend. He put like a British like Siri on his, like a British dude. He's like, yeah, I like when a British man like asks me what to do.
I want to be mansplained.
No, not even I want to be mansplained, but he kind of called him like Alfred, like this is my butler.
Right.
Like I like being. Is there something like? Do you have a specific voice thing?
I don't have a specific voice thing. I like hearing a woman's voice, but I do have like a really hard fractal to go on around the relations between men and women. We have done ourselves so much dirt over the last, I mean, it's been on my radar for maybe 10 years, but it's probably been going for 20 or 30 years. And it is completely deranged culture in a way that, like, I know it's on people's radar for sure. I'm not breaking news here, but I don't think people understand just how bad this is and how it works its way like deep into society. So you're having a biological experience. Men are different than women. Both should be celebrated for their differences. We should not be trying to mash them together into one like blobby super being. It's really fucking stupid what people have done, and there are going to be massive consequences. So I'm going to be a little bit like, I'm way blunt now about my thoughts on this because I think people have run ashore so hard. So yeah, if a guy wants to hear a guy's voice and you see it as, here's an interesting, when I'm doing writing, even though I don't use Audible, I think of it like a man. It's very interesting. So because I know from a storytelling perspective, I'm way more aligned with male energy than I am with female energy. And I do not want to waste time trying to like explain why I want to do it this way. For people that don't know my backstory in comics, my first writer's room was 50% women, and it was like being slowly tortured to death. And at first I did not understand why. I was legitimately confused. I was just like, what?
This might be worse than the little boys in my bed joke. Okay, so you spending time with women tortured you. Say
no, Drew, you cannot say it like that. When I'm writing, I have a far more masculine sensibility.
What are the differences that you've noticed in the writer's room specifically?
Well, so I'll give you the day, literally, I remember the day that I was slapped in the face with, oh, wait a second, like we really are thinking about this differently. I had the villain, Drew, say, don't be a pussy. And the female writers, who, by the way, are very talented writers. This is not me commenting on their ability to write. This is me saying we have different sensibilities. They were like, you can't do that. I'm like, can't do what? Like, you can't say the word pussy. And I was like, what? So first of all, growing up in the 80s, you say it all the time.
Drop 6 hard R's, and
dude,
I don't think
pussy with a hard R, Drew.
I think pussy's a line.
So it was like, didn't even think about it. So I was already like, wait, what? And then I was like, hold on, but it's the villain. Like, I'm not like saying, hey, everybody should talk like this. And I'm like, no, you can't say it. And so then it just became a whole lot of things like that. And I'm like, what is happening? So that was my first introduction to what we would now call woke, but I was completely blind to it at the time. And so I remember, this was years and years and years ago, I had a conversation with Brett Weinstein's wife, Heather Hying. And in the middle of the interview, it dawned on me. I was like, oh, wokeness is the pathological female. And I cannot remember how she answered that question. I think, though, she was like, kind of, but it's like, I'm telling you right now, wokeness is the pathological female. Males can become pathological. Women can become pathological. And that's what wokeness is. It is the feminine spirit, because it's not women specifically, but it's the feminine spirit gone pathological.
Explain that. What's a pathological male? What's a pathological
Pathological male is I stab you to death in a chicken shop. I literally just saw a clip of that. How wild is that?
Jeez.
So that's men gone wrong. Not that women don't ever stab somebody to death, but if they do stab somebody to death, that is them in a very masculine stance. That is not the typical way that a woman would deal with the world. If a woman wants to destroy you, she's going to back channel, get people to turn against you, use political power against you. Like, that's all back channel. That's all a very female way of going. Reputation damage, savaging people that way, spreading rumors, et cetera, et cetera. So 2 very different things, very identifiable. A man can use a female way of savaging somebody. A female can use a masculine way of savaging somebody. But just when you take it on balance, men are going to be in your face. It's going to be aggressive. They're going to call you an idiot right to your face. They're going to punch you in the mouth. A woman is not going to do that. They're going to go behind the scenes. They're going to
make everybody else call you an idiot.
Yeah, basically. And, I mean, they can be just as savage. So they may really be trying to end your life or end your career. They're just not going to do it with a knife or a gun. They might get somebody else to do it, but with a knife or a gun. But they're not going to wield the knife and the gun. And here's the thing. I love that. I love the way that women move in the world. And one of the great and I love the way that men move in the world. They can become pathological, but these are both like incredible like ways to interface with the world. And when I look at the way that women make men better, I'm like, one of the great tragedies of modern life is that women no longer want to invest in a man. And the worst thing is they don't want to invest in the man because they've been given so many freedoms. And so now it's like, yo, what do you do with that? Because if you want to rob women of their freedoms, you're an asshole. So it's like, you should not want that. However, when they don't believe that there's any incentive to invest in a man, one of the things that nature has always been able to count on is that a man will try to get laid by becoming worthy of the sexual receptivity of a woman. A woman only has access to so many men, so the odds that she can find somebody that's perfectly able to like take care of her and the kids when she's in a super vulnerable position is effectively zero. So she's got to have the ability to encourage him to be better. And all of this is happening subconsciously. And so it plays out wonderfully, and we get the modern world. And now it's breaking. And so I remember, and I know I've told the story many times, but there was a time Quest is blowing up. I'm getting all this public attention. And I break down in tears with Lisa because I'm like, no one's ever going to understand that you've made me a better man. And that I would not have been able to achieve this if it weren't for you. Because she was interfacing with the world through me. And I used to tease her and say, you're like my Lady Macbeth, because she was always pushing me to do more, be more, go for more. No, that's not enough. Get paid more, get more of the company, like really aggressive. And more aggressive than I would have been, but always through me. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, wow, like she's really pushed me to be a better person. And I was like, she knows the way to me is to reward me, to say sexually, like misses the seduction of it all, but to look at me like I'm powerful and to express like sexual excitement to me when she views me as powerful. Like then it's like, ooh, I want to be powerful all the time because I love the way that she looks at me, treats me, fawns on me, like, yo, this is really working. And so I would tell her like, hey, this really works on me, like more of this. And she's like, cool, you want more of this? Like keep doing this incredible thing that you just did, right? And so we would laugh about it and be like, oh my God, we're hilarious because we can talk so openly about the way that we're nudging each other, influencing each other, and it's awesome. And so it is very clear to me that some very large portion of my success is due to my wife's ability to be turned on by me when I'm powerful and to be able to articulate the things she thinks that I should go and get and then to reward me when I get it. I mean, it's just like this incredible feedback loop. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm like, I look at men and women today and I'm like, not only do they not do that, they think it's like toxic or trash or like, I don't need no man and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like you guys are going to drive off of fucking cliffs because evolution assumes you will have the influence of the other. And when you don't have the influence of the other, women go like full Karen. They go into like super bitchy mode. Nobody's checking their emotions and being like, hey, just because you feel that way, you should not be acting in that way. That's not going to move you towards your goals. And then men are like fucking failure to launch because they don't think they can get laid. And so it's like, yeah. And as soon as you say, boys and girls, men send rockets to the moon to get laid, people are going to freak out. But it's like, that is true. What's happening? Evolution cares about one thing and one thing only, that you have kids that survive long enough to have kids. Guess how you have kids? You have sex. So, oh man, like people have just gotten really off track with reality. It's wild.
Nice. All right, we got a red light.
Yeah. Scribadurba thinks this is bullshit. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Scribadurba. I love you, but good Lord.
Really quick, I do want to get to one thing from chat. You stigmatized a behavior and associated it with women. That's not cool, bro.
Sorry. There it is. Women can be pathological. Guess what? Men can be pathological. I'm going to associate violence with men. It's bad. There it is. There it is. I could not have less remorse. People need to wake up to what pathological men look like and what pathological women look like. We need to understand, I mean, let's use some woo-woo-y words here. What does the sacred feminine look like? What does the sacred masculine look like? Let's talk about it. Let's define these terms so we know what we're trying to aim at. There are bad things that are associated with women. There are bad things that are associated with men. And if we pretend like there's not, then everything is going to be wacky.
Somebody said, when you said what's the sacred woman, what's the sacred men look like? So I put unprotected sex. Giggity.
Druidicus. There it is.
That tickled me. All right, super chat.
Super chat from Tim Riley. Peter Diamandis says that AI means everyone will have to be an entrepreneur. My dad ran 18 nursing homes and sold because he couldn't find anyone to replace him. He believes not everyone's built that way. How do we reconcile this?
That is facts. You probably reconcile that with some sort of, what do you call it? Services for all, universal services, something like that.
Services.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, The only thing I know is that the way that AI actually plays out is going to surprise me. So whatever I say is merely directional. It isn't going to be accurate. Not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur, but this is why I'm doing Zero to Founder inside of Impact Theory University, is I know how many people are going to be forced during the transitionary period into, at a minimum, becoming their own contractor, having to understand how to hustle up business, all of that stuff. And then this really is going to be a golden age for small scale entrepreneurs. So it's going to be really demoralizing, though, for people that they don't want that. They want to fold into an organization, and transitionary periods are brutal. That there's just no way around that. Every time you look back at like major revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution or the electrification of America, cars, like it completely disrupts industries. But nobody cries for the lamplighters who lost their job. You just go, I prefer having electricity. And so we all have to bear some of that burden. It just is what it is. So now, will AI slow down? Maybe. And if it slows down, like if we can just integrate AI over 20 years instead of 5, that would be a lot better. But I don't know that it's going to slow down. And so if it doesn't slow down, then it's like, well, this is coming fast and it's going to be very disruptive and people are going to be very upset. And in a time of increasing inequality, that would not be the perfect scenario. There will be some bad. How bad that it gets, I don't know. But given that men are already at right now today, 16% unemployment, that's insane. 12% of them, by the way, this is prime working age men. This is not including men that are rightfully retired. Prime working age men, 16% unemployed. That's crazy. 12% of them aren't even trying to get jobs. Prime working age men, 12%. That's nuts.
Is it one of those things where
that's going to go up?
You say people need to get chased by a lion. Is this going to be the wake-up call where somebody who might not be an entrepreneur has to kind of figure it out because otherwise they're not making
Yeah,
rent,
and
they
some
gotta keep
people
up their
will make
basement?
that leap, but many people will, they won't thrive because they weren't raised to be chased by a lion. And much to my dismay, your childhood matters more than anything else that's ever going to happen to you. I hate that that is true, but that is true. The only thing that competes with it are your genetics. Your genetics are probably a little more important, but not by a lot. You can really break somebody, just fuck them up emotionally when they're a kid, and they never recover. I really despise that that is true, that's how the brain develops, but it really does.
One more super chat from LeBlanc again.
Super chat.
So he's been giving us a lot today.
Shout out to LeBlanc. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you for showing love in the chat.
Speaking on the prompting and making it for ya, any chance Kaizen might have a future so people can submit 3D models assets to fit on top of the hex tiles for the map editor?
Yes, is the very short answer. So some of this is a technological problem that I don't yet know the answer to, so I don't want to overcommit. But our ideal would be to build the Oasis from Ready Player One. So the goal there would be that the vast majority of what's in there is made by the community. And what we do is set the laws of physics, essentially. So that would be our goal. And then we see ourselves as a creator inside of Project Kaizen, not the creator inside of Project Kaizen. So now, in the beginning, we'll probably be the primary creator for a long time, just because it will take time to get a community of builders in there. It'll also take time to give them enough tools that they can build things that are really cool. But yeah, that is the long-term vision. All things in success, of course, because if the game flops, then that's just sort of the end of that. But my hope is that we will have a nice long life cycle and we will continually give people things to build. So yeah, more to come.
There's one response to that says, Roblox already is that. I can go in there and be an ICE agent today. Which there's more to that. But
That's nuts.
how do you think about that upcoming competition and setting Kaizen apart?
So what we're trying to do that's different from UEFN and Roblox is that we're one story universe. So whether people care about that, going back to the fancy roof or not, is a totally different question. But we want to create a story universe that people create inside of. Whereas if you go to UEFN or you go to Roblox, it's completely detached experiences. So I would always expect them to be bigger because people can just do whatever they want. Everything is a separate universe. And so you're just rolling up to somewhere that's sort of an infinite buffet of things. So if you think of it as their Netflix and I'm trying to be the Star Wars universe, that'll get you where anybody can come in and create and build and all of that stuff. And so we're always going to be sort of a niche off of that. But given that storytelling is my thing, I'm very fixated on story. I'm very fixated on influencing culture, which I think I can do far better by being inside of a story universe than I can by just like, hey, go build that thing. So I'm not trying to build the biggest thing that's ever existed. So my take is just different on given what I want to do and how I want to express myself. Do I think that it could be a multi-billion-dollar company? Yes, I do. Do I think that we have a lot of hurdles that we would have to overcome to get there? Oh, yes. But anyway, early signs are very encouraging that we're going to be able to build a game loop. Let me be very clear. Right now, story is way more expensive. So we're just focused on the game loop. But right now, I have every reason to believe that we can build a good game loop. Then once we have game loop and that's generating money, we will reinvest that into partially making the game loop better and deeper, and then partially into building out the storylines. And then as AI comes on and makes the storytelling cheaper, then we'll tell a lot more story because the cost will have come down dramatically. But anyway, that's the differentiating factor.
Cool. All right, let's talk about Trump taking over the Fed.
Let's go.
So Trump has
get it all. It's like Pokemon. He's going to get all the agencies, all the companies.
Intel. Now he's taking over the Fed. Everything. Trump has issued a letter to Fed Governor Lisa Cook, calling into
more
question
than a letter.
calling into question her trustworthiness as a financial regulator because she's currently being investigated for mortgage fraud.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's accused her of a crime.
Lisa Cook has put a...
Is that a Freudian slip? Lisa cooked?
Lisa cooked. She did cook. No, she bought two properties and put both of them as her primary residence to get favorable rates. That's what Trump is calling out for fraud. So I just want to kind of put that in there because fraud is different than mortgage fraud, in my opinion, because fraud is like you're not actually who you are. People are coming at her credentials. She just fudged some paperwork so that way she get a better rate on a mortgage for her investment property. Some people are saying that this is Trump's way to kind of control the Fed.
Correct.
Have an ownership over the interest rates.
Correct.
Last time this happened, Nixon did it. It worked for a couple months, then everything tanked.
It is a terrible idea. So listen, I'm in a weird position with my code of ethics where you cannot let people run rampant with crime, period. New paragraph. You cannot weaponize the Department of Justice to get things that you want done politically. And when I say can't, I mean, you certainly can, and both parties have been doing it for quite some time now. It is a terrible idea, and it will accelerate the division in this country, and this is going to be the death of us. This is exactly how we become a banana republic. So I could not hate this anymore if I tried. So I love if a president wants to apply narrative pressure on the Fed and call him too late Powell and all that stuff. I love it. Like, try to convince the American people that this guy is doing the wrong thing.
Funny nickname's cool.
Yep. But when you start going after somebody, this, again, people should not be doing mortgage fraud, but that he isn't overly concerned with mortgage fraud. This is which one of these motherfuckers can I go get? And if he could have gotten Powell, he would have gotten Powell directly. Oh, I can't get Powell? Let me get one of the people on the board. And so this is a terrible idea. Like, this is what happens when people trust themselves too much. Dude, do you know why I don't want a Fed? Because I don't trust these guys to set the rate correctly. So we got to stop trying to manipulate the economy. Now, the only thing that strikes me as worse than an independent agency setting the policy is the executive branch setting the policy. This is wild. So anyway, I hate everything about this. If you don't like Jerome Powell at the end of his term, replace him with somebody better. But dude, you just can't do this. This is the odds that things go wrong. Like, even if he gets it right now, because I really wish Jerome Powell had lowered interest rates so that America could secure better long-term rates and relieve some of the interest rate burden, but he didn't. And so if Trump manages to bully them enough that he's able to influence them, because by the way, him booting her out is not the same as him controlling interest rates. Let's be very clear about that. Even booting Powell out is not the same as the Fed no longer has autonomy. So let's be very clear about that. But this ever ratcheting up pressure, he's doing it because he knows it will work. Because even if she doesn't end up getting convicted, she's going to be like, do I really want to deal with this? Like, this is a lot of drama. So he knows that the pressure will work, which is exactly why he's applying it. And if you can influence them, then you end up getting policy that might be well-intended, might even be short-term positive, but over time you're going to make mistakes. Because when somebody who has to get reelected in a very short period of time has control of the interest rates, you jerk it around till you get to the midterms and then, look at that. Money's so cheap. Everybody's happy. The economy's booming. Oh, I'm up for reelection. Oh my God. Who would have thought interest rates would come down, Drew? Isn't that wild? So, and also, by the way, watch the upcoming episode with Lynn Alden. By the way, we should message next week. I'm going to be traveling, so we will not have a deep dive on Monday nor an interview on Tuesday because of the holiday weekend and my absence. We're going to wait and drop them the week after. But when I get back, Lynn Alden drops on Tuesday, and great episode. And she talks about something called fiscal dominance. So we're in fiscal dominance. Now, I know that Besson understands that. Do I know that Trump understands that? I don't know that Trump understands that. And he certainly isn't acting like he understands that. Fiscal dominance, put very simply, is where the government takes on so much debt that it outpaces the private debt. And when the Fed, which is charged with basically maintaining the private part of the economy, when the government is taking out so much debt that it outstrips the private government, when the Fed tries to raise or lower interest rates to influence the public sector and the corporate sector of the economy, they can't do it because the government is just taking on debt so much, so fast that they're in control. And the Fed is going to have to print money to match whatever amount of deficit spending that they're doing. So the Fed is in a no-win situation because if they raise interest rates, then the debt accelerates on the government side even faster because of the interest rate. And so they have tools, but they don't really have an impact. So that's a pretty bad place to be. And we are there. And on the following Tuesday, Lynn Alden will walk you through it all. It was an awesome interview. Yeah. She changed some of my thinking on economics. And when that happens, I am always excited.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that one too. Once it drops, you guys are going to love it. That's going to come out following week. We're going to put this in the community post so you guys know. Okay, is this directional though? Like, is this actually going to have any impact? For example, Trump was talking about, rechanging Department of Defense to the Department of War. We want defense. We don't want offense. So, there's these things that he's saying, but they're not necessarily going to change policy. They're not going to impact the everyday American.
He is signaling a cultural shift. I'll give him that. Like, this is from you're the CEO of America. You've got to set the tenor. Calling it, we're not the Department of Defense anymore, we're the Department of War. That is very clear. You are letting people know, hey, Venezuela, hey, Mexico, you see them drones flying, you see those battleships off your coast. Hi, we don't tolerate the cartels anymore, and we will roll up on a bitch. And so, he's being very clear. We are no longer just defensive. We are offensive. And as one guy, I fucking hate it. So if you're in our borders, finna be aggressive. But sending like battleships to Venezuela, droning over, and hey, the drones over Mexico is a bit of speculation, but like droning over Mexico to like map it and do intel, that starts to not tickle my funny bone. I'm not loving it.
So diving into that, U.S. warships did sail off of Venezuela as tensions soared between Trump and Maduro regime over his alleged cartel accusations. We tie that with the most recent Joe Rogan interview where I forgot the guest's name, Ed Calderon, was just talking about how they're sending U.S. drone intelligence agencies are sending drones over Mexico to kind of map out the region. So Trump is trying to take on cartels, but it seems more research, investigate versus we're actively putting boots on the ground.
Bro, we're 7 months in.
Yeah.
Like we got almost 3.5 more years. That investigation is going to lead somewhere. So,
Very good point.
Now, if I love the like, hey, we want to partner with Mexico, we want to help them solve this problem, and if Mexico is receptive, that would be wonderful. If they are not receptive, at some point you do have to have like a check in yourself of like, border would be a nice easy one. Dear cartels, I highly encourage you to stay in Mexico because, oh dear God, if you cross that fucking border, we will bring unholy hell down upon your head and then make good on the threat. I love that. But the Mexico doesn't want you here. The Mexican president has said as much, and you've still got drones like flying over their airspace. That does not seem like the play. That's somebody, again, who's just trusting himself a little too much, who thinks, look, I got this. I'm the daddy of Europe. I want to be the daddy of North America. As a PSA, remember, Mexico's North America. I want to be the daddy of North America. Maybe I want to be the daddy of Central and South America. So just as I don't want China throwing undue weight around the world, I want America to be seen as, hey, everybody, we're your ally. We're going to police the seas. We are going to expect a bit of a tithe for that to make sure that commerce can flow easily. We want to be a good partner to everybody. We understand that you have autonomy, but we want to be the big brother that people feel like is looking out for them, not the big brother that's like, oh, you've got oil, you need some freedom. It's like that whole vibe that we spread for decades is definitely not the vibe. And now the like, we're tired of being taken advantage of and we're going to start slapping people around is also not the vibe. So draw boundaries, not just borders, but draw boundaries. So, hey, not going to be taken advantage of. Got that. But it's not, this is one of the things you guys will see in the Lynn Alden interview. It's not that easy. We wanted trade deficits with people because it actually allowed us to get more people to use the dollar as a reserve currency, which allowed us to export more of our inflation. So it's not like we weren't getting anything out of it. Anyway, I want to see us position ourselves as the big brother who's tough as hell, nobody fucks with, but at the same time, like wants you, dear little brother, to thrive and do well. And we're not just going to smash and grab shit.
Yeah. It seems like we have the right intention in mind going against the war in the cartels, like claiming war on the cartels, but it is giving me war against terrorism where it could just be perpetual debt, money, like grab. Not money grab, but just like a hole that we throw money. We spent so much money in Iraq just to leave and nothing be changed effectively from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't want that to then happen on the Venezuelan coast, the Mexico border, things like that.
And we unfortunately have a long history of thinking, if we just get rid of this one regime. Now, he was measured in Iran. So that gives me a lot of hope. Like the way he handled Iran, I had no
one strike, got out,
Yep.
that's it.
And that's it. We're done. And so if there are things going on with Venezuela that I'm unaware of and he's got to do a show of force or something, fine. But invading Venezuela, no thanks. Rocketing them into oblivion, I'd have to know a lot more information before I'd be comfortable with that. Right now, that would just seem like really unhinged shit. But sure, there are things that could be true where I would go, okay, yeah, fine. But I don't have any of that information right now.
Speaking of rocketing into oblivion, Benjamin Netanyahu just called the bombing of the journalist a mishap.
Now, is this the one where there's live footage of it happening? Because I saw that this morning. I just don't know if they're the same incident. Like people were at a hospital. They were like trying to get a journalist's body out or something.
Yeah.
And then they literally just shot the hospital, right? Like on fucking camera.
in.
Like they're hanging off the side of the building. It's not hanging off, but like broken staircase. They're trying to do something. And then boom, just toasted cheese. It was wild.
It's almost like,
Is it the same thing?
I believe
Am I
it's the same
conflating?
thing,
Okay.
yes. I haven't seen that video that you're talking about specifically, but
It was wild.
yes.
Wild.
And I don't know what timeline I'm in right now where I'm agreeing with Alex Jones, but here it goes. Breaking, Benjamin Netanyahu now claims the 2 bombs dropped on one of the only remaining hospitals that he hadn't blown up yet in Gaza was a quote-unquote mishap. That's the equivalent of saying it was just a fender bender. And then this is his tweet from yesterday. Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at Nasser Hospital in Gaza. Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians. The military authorities are conducting a thorough investigation. Our wars with Hamas terrorists, our just goals are defeating Hamas and bringing our hostages home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to get anybody anywhere. So, I mean, look. Yeah, the Israel-Palestine thing. On this, maybe it was an accident. Maybe we're just in such an aggressive posture that this kind of stuff is happening all the time. This one just happened to be caught on camera. It happened to be a hospital. But, oh, man. I almost need more specific questions to be able to answer this. This is like... Okay, do we want to take this from a realpolitik angle? Do we want to talk about total war? I'm certainly not going to defend Israel from a moral perspective. Obviously, that's immoral. They're doing ethnic cleansing at a bare fucking minimum. That's immoral. There's almost certainly war crimes up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, like everywhere. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, from a realpolitik lens, it's like if you're going to keep poking your neighbor who is far superior to you in firepower, they are eventually going to wipe you the fuck off a map. And so I don't know how or why we started pretending that that's not a thing. I think cameras, quite honestly. So cameras made us think that that's not what people do. And yep, go ahead, scream moral outrage. It won't matter. Like once the country has decided, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, you're just going to keep getting bombed. And so they're playing a very strategic international game where it's like they know what partners they have to keep sweet. And if they have to fund the life out of them or give them technology deals or all of the above, then they're going to do that. And so this is where I'm like, we can have this conversation at so many different levels. Is it amoral? Yes. Is it evil? Yes. Is it going to continue? Yes. Should we be expecting anything else? No. Should Hamas have attacked on October 7th? No. So I'm not sure like how to help people through this, because in the final analysis, the only thing that matters is who's able and willing to kill the other more. Period. So it's like, fuck, man.
Is this pathological men?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like this is collision of values. This is, you've got people who believe in one God versus people who believe in another God. And fuck you, my God is more real. And so I'm going to kill you. There is, this is my land. No, it's my land. Fuck you, I'm going to kill you. This is you killed my brother, fuck you, I'm going to kill you. Like these are all the things that are at play, which is why this stuff is so untenable. There is, I always like to imagine where I would be if China had invaded California and my property was on the Chinese side of this. And would I be like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like you just got to move on, bro. And here's the really bad answer. There is a number of years that if they go by, I would be like, yeah, we just have to move on. And I would be voting aggressively. I lost my property. And I'm telling you right now, at some point, we just have to look forward. And so either mount the most catastrophic military offense against China or shut the fuck up and move on. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't claim that I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this one, but my family, my wife's family technically, live in Cyprus. And some of them lived in the north of Cyprus. And they literally thought, oh, I'm going to a refugee camp for the weekend, only to 50 years later, they still don't have their property back. And there are other families that have raised kids in their houses and sorry, fuck you, you get nothing. And it was devastating. You can still get them to start crying if you bring it up. Like this is a real trauma in that family. And my answer is, you got to move forward. And what did they do? They moved forward. So do they still want to see a political solution? Yes. But are they willing to spend bloodshed? Absolutely not. So, God, this is all so ugly and so gross and so obvious and predictable from the human animal that I don't know how else to approach it. Mm-hmm. I would fight like hell if China invaded today. And then if enough people died, admittedly, I'm going to be like, you got to fucking let it go. It's just not worth it anymore. That's what war does. And that is specifically what Israel is trying to do. They are trying to, despite all the international pressure, we are going to break their will to fight. And for everybody that says, but you're just going to create more Hamas, they're like, word, then we will just kill more Hamas. And so it's like everybody, everybody wants there to be like you don't understand that you're just going to create more Hamas. And I'm like, you just don't understand that they will just keep killing them because they have fucking had enough. So, and we can also talk about, should Israel have ever come into existence? They ran a playbook, man. They ran a playbook, and that playbook was import, and get political and economic power, and you become a nation. Now, had Palestine been fighting back against that at that time, I'd have been like, yeah, well, motherfuckers, you rolled up in their territory. They're going to feel some kind of way. I look at Britain fighting back against Islamist extremists. Yep, I get it. I get why they're mad as hell, and they don't want it anymore. Totally understand. There will come a day where if they don't solve this now and the UK becomes a Muslim-dominant country where I'm going to be like, yo, the old school English need to chill the fuck out. Like, you lost. You had your shot. You blew it. Like, don't keep fucking bloodshedding. But I get that they're still going to. So it's like, what do you do? The only answer is you've got to get to the point where everybody cares more about their kids' future than they care about whatever thing they're fighting over. And so you just go, cool, what do we do now? But dude, when you watch a map of borders changing over time, like sped up, borders change a lot. Spain used to be a Muslim country. Something violent happened, and now it's not. So,
something violent happened, and now all the Muslims disappeared. I don't know. I don't know how to fill that gap. All right.
This is what humans do, man. And it is as ugly and grotesque as people think. But it's what we do. That's not me excusing it. That's just me like sitting here like, fuck. The only thing you can do is learn these lessons and draw your boundaries aggressively now so you don't find yourself in that position. Mm-hmm. But it is a brutal thing. We came and killed a whole bunch of Native Americans. We took this shit. There's also that. And it is moronic to say, we're on stolen land. We should be giving it back. We're not going to, by the way. But like, feel guilty. That's stupid. So, yep, this is where we're at.
All right, let's jump into some React content because I am not.
Wait, hold on.
That. Nope,
I'm always shocked. There has to be some response.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to go into this? Wait.
Nope.
What?
Honestly, not a lot. There's a lot of people just not liking the Jews. And then,
wait, we have a no like the Jews crowd?
Whoa.
I'm always
we don't have
sad
any
about that.
crowd. Our crowd is fantastic. I think we should move on.
I feel like Drew.
I agree with
what
you.
were we talking about earlier with like there's lying and then there's just not talking about something? All right.
I'm being the politician in this.
Okay, moving on. Well, there it is.
Yeah, we got one. I like the Jews in the comment. There it is. That's all we need.
Skirba-derba.
All right, let's talk about some Reacts content.
Attack on Titans is good. Okie dokie, Sophie. So good.
This was hilarious to me if my computer didn't freeze. Oh no.
Computer's dead.
My computer's dying. Oh, there it is. Okay. Kentucky coal miner, covered in dust, takes his son to a college basketball game after a shift. And everybody was like, oh. But then I was like, but his hands are clean.
Yeah.
But his face isn't.
Yeah.
The only thing
I need to know a lot more about this story. I feel the same way about this story as I feel about the girl wielding the knife and the axe in Scotland, in the UK against a migrant. She's like, don't touch my sister. Mm-hmm. Technically, the one with the knife and the axe is the 12-year-old. And the one yelling is the older sister. But she's like, don't touch my sister. Now, if that guy tried to grab her, molest her, whatever, and that's why they're now carrying weapons, like, good on them. I would expect them to protect themselves, and I love anybody that's willing to stand up, 12 or not. I'm here for it. If, on the other hand, this is kids knowing that they can cry wolf and get somebody in trouble, and they can brandish this stuff as a way to get attention. My mom worked at a school, and they found that this kid claimed sexual abuse against a bus driver. but had admitted to other students, it's not true. I just know that they'll get in trouble for it and I don't like them. So it's like, that stuff happens, but child abuse happens. So it's like, if child abuse is happening, then yeah, I'm on the kid's side, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So I can only give you a reaction. If this is legitimate, then fuck yeah, I'm with the kids. And that is wild that they arrested one of the sisters. Insanity to me. Fucking insane. If they didn't, and this is them trolling, then obviously I have a beef with the kids. Like fucking wielding weapons and shit. Like it's crazy. So my man's, if he like for real is like, I don't care. I'm going to be there for my kid. And I will come with a dirty face and I've only got time to wash my hands and I've got to run out the door. And I know that when I try to wash it takes like 10 minutes to get it all off. And so I'm going to end up fucking smearing it around. Far better for me to just go. But on the other hand, if he's trying to make like a working class statement or something and he intentionally doesn't wash his face to be like, I'm a better father than you or whatever, then okay. But like, I have no idea like who this guy is or what the context is. But a guy being willing to show up for his kids straight from work, smelly, dirty, whatever. I'm so into that. Like people that do the thing for their kids that like roll up and show up when their kid is expecting them. Fuck yeah. And having grown up in a family, my family didn't work in the mines, but they worked in paper mills. And dude, like, yeah, like you do the hard thing. It's fucking honorable work and it's hard as hell work. And I would expect them to be treated with respect and that people would be happy if that's the only way that he can get to the game on time. So again, I don't know if it's a political statement or not, but like parents being there for their kids, no matter what it takes, fuck yeah. People doing hard work and like not being ashamed of themselves for being dirty, fuck yeah. Like I'm here for all of that. So without the context, though, I don't want to be rage baited and freak out over something that once you get the context, you're like, oh, wait. So,
yeah. 36.7 million views and counting. That thing popped off.
And what's the sentiment in the feed? Is it this guy's a faker? Or is it like, yeah, do your thing for your kid? Or does it just break along?
He could have washed his face in the bathroom. Bro's dramatic. Performative. Why not clean some of his face? This is a photo opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to know. So anyway, if it is that, then whatever, cringy. But if it's just a hardworking guy that's doing his best to be there for his kid, like we got to support that. And listen, I admittedly maybe go harder in the paint than somebody who's earning their own stripes by actually having kids. But because I am so grateful to people that do have kids, I probably give a little bit more benefit of the doubt to anybody raising kids well. So shout out to all the parents.
Nice. All right, jumping into another story.
Baby wipes for the win. That's a good one. That's probably pretty.
It's the same thing. What is happening with my computer right now?
That.
I think so. I have two streams open and I am lagging. Bad TV, guys. Sorry. I'll be better next time. W2F. At a school in Florida meeting, this Florida mom revealed that her son was nominated by his teacher to be most likely to become a dictator because he was a conservative and liked World War II history. The teacher also allowed students to label him a Naziophile.
Having fun
My
yet?
son, 6 years old, was prohibited from sitting next to his friend on the school bus because a parent objected to my perspectives on book challenges. My older son's history teacher allowed students to label him a Nazi-phile simply for his interest in history and participation in ROTC. She later nominated my son as the most likely to become a dictator and had his classmates vote on it and try to force him to the front of the class to receive the certificate, which he rightly refused, all because of his conservative values and our perspectives.
Thank you. I really want to know like how old her son is. For some reason, when I first watched this, I thought that he was really young. And then by the end, I was like, maybe he was like in high school or something. But this is wild, man. This is wild. People are so convinced that they're right. It really drives me crazy. I think school teachers should view themselves as representing facts and trying to represent the people in their district. Now, you're never going to be able to like go, everyone's going to think one way. And so you just present what they think. But trying to remember how much of this stuff really needs to be reserved for the parents. And we've somehow lost that. Like we think that we're in a battle for the soul of the children and that the way to do it is to centralize it and that we all know best as the government or the school board or whatever. That is crazy to me. Kids are, and this is a word people are going to hate, but kids are the property of their parents, man. They are not the property of the government. So the government is there to help the parents, not the other way around. So yeah, I am really wound up by this kind of thing.
In the video, it says she's sick. He's 6, the son.
The kid.
But
She
then
tried
there's
to get a
another chat
6-year-old?
saying She said ROTC, and since when are 6-year-olds on
Yeah,
ROTC programs?
facts.
Maybe it was 16?
Or are
honestly
there
don't know.
2 different kids? I vaguely remember that she has 2 different kids and she's referencing like different things. So yeah, I would be very surprised if you're trying to get a 6-year-old to come up because you're most likely to be a dictator. Like at that age, you're thinking, oh, I've got to like switch this kid up. I've got to propagandize him. At a 16-year-old, they're pushing back. They're being a dick. Like then you feel like, okay, I got to like really bully this kid. I would be utterly shocked if the person was so deranged that they're doing that to a 6-year-old. But as a parent, Drew, how would you feel about that? Like whatever your view is, the teacher's doing the opposite. How would you feel?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because I have learned, and I'm sorry, all the teachers in the chat. I have learned that I don't necessarily respect teachers as much as I did growing up.
Wow. Because they're propaganda machines or for some other reason?
Because their egos are fragile. And I feel like in the position of leading children, you should be the bigger person in the room. My daughter goes to a mostly Caucasian school. She's in the Phoenix School District. So there has been a lot of instances where somebody would talk down to my child in a way that they weren't talking down necessarily to other children. And
students or teachers?
Teachers, like a teacher.
Oh.
Like there was a teacher who had a beef with my daughter. And I'm like, she gets good grades. I thought that was the only requirement. Like, well, still, she should still like be more respectful when she comes in. She should do this. And there was certain things that I think the teacher was projecting onto her that didn't necessarily were at its core. And mind you, this was in 1st grade. So this is not like we're talking about 14-year-old Lynn who like has an attitude sometimes. And I get that. We're talking about 7-year-old who's like, I just was tired this morning. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So dealing with the volatility in that side was.
But what about the indoctrination stuff? That's what I have a beef with.
It hit me. I have a specific story. I was trying to avoid saying it, but it hit me in 3rd grade because my daughter came home and was like, or this was the first Trump presidency when Biden was like 2020. She was like, President Trump is trying to take away women's rights to have babies.
Your daughter said that.
Yes. And at this point, I was just like, well, I mean, do you know what you're just saying? She's like, yeah, well, a woman should have the right to decide what they do with their body.
Whoa.
I'm like, so they should be like, hold on, do you understand? So I had to kind of sit her down like, wait, you're clearly telling me things that somebody else told you, and I
Right.
can tell that you're talking through them.
Yeah.
But that's, for me as a parent, that's when I kind of had to step in like, oh, okay, look, some people do have a right to do whatever they want. So if they want to get an abortion, they should be able to get an abortion. But that doesn't mean that I personally might support abortion, or because of my religious values, I
Right.
feel like we should try to figure out other ways to help the child versus just kind of killing it. But if a woman wants to, she's a grown woman, da-da-da. So I kind of had to give her the context of the background. And she's like, oh, okay, I get that. And that's why I'm like, I understand that teachers, again, they are a bit more beholden. They like the feedback of I can talk to these people, I can tell them what they want, and they'll believe me, and I'm the
Right.
smartest person in the room. And they kind of like that ego boost in that way. But at the same time, that doesn't absolve the parents' responsibility of like, nah, you still have to fight back and push back against it. Because there are kids, one of her friends, like their parents checked out, they would drop off, they wouldn't check their homework. The dude was like messing up in class. And like, I used to coach Lynn's soccer team, so I knew him from the soccer team, so I always would ask about him. And that, at like kids like those who I know they don't have that necessarily family support, they're 100% just getting indoctrinated by the system, because nobody is going to have that conversation that I had. I'm like, hey, wait, hold on, sit down. Like, what are you actually saying? Like, what did she say?
Right.
In what context was she talking about? What did she tell you? And I had to kind of go below the surface, where it's just like, oh, my teacher said it, so it's right. Just like 2 + 2 = 4. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Yep. You know what I mean? They just walk around like that. So there is that interaction, but it's I don't know, talking to the school district, I feel like you're now trying to embarrass that teacher.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
I would go hard in the paint.
You would go school district, get
Drew?
fired.
Oh my God. I would be a nightmare. So I have a real problem with authority.
Yeah.
And so when a teacher's like, I know better than you, and I'm going to tell your kids what I believe is right, I would obviously first start very calm. Hey, let's not do that stuff. If they push back, dude, I would go nuclear. Now, I'm not a yell scream guy.
Yeah.
I would be very surgical, but ooh, buddy, I would be doing deep dives at the school every time they had a meeting. I would be their worst nightmare. I'd be calm, collected, non-emotional, and extremely
Deep dives at the school meeting.
bro. I would go full
TV like season.
parental, like start a group, getting people organized. Like, yeah, that I will not abide. Like when people think that they know better for my life than I know, nope. Like that, just like Trump saying you can't burn the flag made me want to burn the flag, which is wild because that's like, I love America.
Yeah.
I just do not like people telling me what I can and cannot do. I'm already love the law. Yay. But like people telling me what I can and can't do with something like that, ooh, buddy. So yeah, I would not be okay with that.
I feel like that's where I kind of broke against Gavin Newsom is like, I was like, homeless is here, but there's homeless everywhere and it's not his fault and this is fine. And I would kind of give excuses for why California is where it's at. But then when they passed that bill that teachers can sidestep parents and put them on puberty blockers. And I was just like, I can understand if it's like, there's CPS, the kids are getting beaten at home. Yes, you got to go directly to the. I get that, no beef with that. But the fact that I could put you on a medical intervention plan and not tell the parent, like
technically,
that
I don't think that's what the California law says. But what it does say, in my understanding, is that the kid can start living like at school under a different name, wanting to be called by a different gender, and then they can say like, hey, this is fine. And they don't have to tell the parents. So they can say, we'll keep this a secret from your parents. That's when I was like, nope. Keeping it a secret from your parents, that is fucking terrible.
It's weird.
No way. That is a level of insanity that I cannot fathom that people go for that. Like, that's really wild to me. Yeah, I would have, I would have beef with that, Drew. I would have real beef with that.
All right, well, speaking of trans, a park ranger, park security guard, they're park rangers.
Now, is that the same person? No way. Is that the same person?
That is the same person.
Really?
A transgender non-binary biologist hung a transgender pride flag from El Capitan and got fired from their job.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm confused. So which one is the more up-to-date photo? The one on the right. Okay, but on the left, she looks very feminine.
Makeup and a beard?
But hold on. So she has transitioned and taken testosterone, but now looks like a man dressing up like a woman. That's the part that I don't understand. So she was are we sure about this?
This is the before and after.
100% we know that's factual. This doesn't seem possible, Drew. I don't understand. So, and I mean this legitimately from I am confused. So we have a woman who has transitioned into being a man.
I'm gonna say
but
the
dresses like a woman.
Kind of calls that like. I think that's what breaks it is that they and I'm assuming pronouns I don't see here. It probably went from she to they, not a she to he. So when it comes to they, it's a another.
Okay, so this is more queer than I want to be a woman because she's already a woman.
My LGBTQ gang in the chat might have to help me. I don't know if
Yeah,
queer is
chat.
that definition. But going back to first,
Chad is saying they started as a man.
Okay, then what's with the photo on the left? Because when I look at the photo on the right, I'm like 100% grew up as a man. Look at that jaw. I'm jealous.
When I see the left, I see a man who is presenting feminine or more.
Really? Oh, I'd be totally bamboozled.
I feel like we're in what's in the speed bump?
Chat, we're going to need you guys in on this because
A pothole?
Pothole, yes, thank you.
Okay, wait.
Are we in the
Edwin
pothole?
Rodriguez is saying we're falling for AI propaganda.
We're in the pothole.
Suppose that's possible.
This is not AI propaganda. This is not what we're talking about. We're out here arguing about their chaw line. The problem is that they hung a pride flag
is natural. The Trump
inside of
administration
the park and then let people sign in, things like that, and then ended up getting fired. And
Right. So that part, sure, fine. Like if you're not, like if they
Let's go
have,
back to the jawline though.
but bro, that's so much more interesting. Like if you've got a rule that people can't hang a flag and then somebody hangs a flag, they fucking fire them. Like I just don't have any beef with that. This could be a save Tom Bilyeu flag. If they say you can't fly flags, then you can't fly flags, period. But if they're like, you can fly any flag but a trans flag, then I would actually have beef with that. So like make a policy. It is what it is. But now back to our regularly scheduled programming where I try to understand what is happening. Does anybody know? Like people in the chat are saying this is Tom trying to understand mental illness. But even if we want to categorize this as mental illness, you can still map it. So I'm just trying to map like what is like, but look at that jaw, bro. That is a real jaw. You can't take testosterone and get that jaw. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's a lot of testosterone in the world and it will enlarge your jaw, but not like that. I mean, that's like, you had to already be a man. Like, have you seen the photos of, oh God, who was that kid from High School Musical? Went on to have a pretty good career. Come on. What? Zac Efron. Yes, thank you.
Oh, when you got the new jaw for Iron
Bro,
Claw. Yeah, I
that jaw. Like, that has got to be 100%. Like, you took way too much testosterone. Because he talked about, no, I broke my jaw. Like, this is a man who takes testosterone. Yeah. But you don't start as a woman and take T and get a chin like that. No way.
Yeah, that was a solid. That's a solid jaw.
Bro got himself a jaw now.
Solid jaw. That was an emotional movie. Did you watch it?
No. Is it good?
It was good. I mean, for Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, like in Almost or 17 again. I was like, yo, this kid is legit.
I loved that movie when I was like 16.
Bro, 17 again. He is funny. He is a funny actor, or was. I haven't seen him in a while, but like that was where I was like, oh, I get why this kid is famous. Like he's really gonna do something. Now I've never seen High School Musical, so maybe people already knew about him, but that was the one that put him on my radar. And I was like, wow, for as young as he is, like he can really do comedy.
That almost reminded me of the Sammy Sosa transformation.
Sammy Sosa?
Yeah, when Sammy Sosa turned.
He gave himself a jaw?
He turned light skin.
Oh, we got a Michael Jackson thing going on?
Yeah.
Whoa, what? Wait, how? Is he bleaching his skin?
Yeah, bleach. Ad blocker disabled it, but yeah, he's super light now.
Whoa, that's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah, bleaching is crazy.
Do they bleach their whole body? Does it hurt?
I'm gonna be honest. It's way too prevalent in Caribbean communities. It's like a face cream.
Can I borrow your charger? By the way, my computer just died.
It's like a face cream. The one I'm like noticed, and I have like a cousin who does it. Who like you don't even get like a right complexion. It's weird.
Now,
but
is it like light skin is that's like higher?
White is right, and as close as I can get to that.
Even in the Caribbean?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, it was all colonized. So there's some kid who's like, oh man, the people who hold in the whips, I want to be like that person. So that's who they aspire to be.
That's accurate, but absolutely.
He felt bad laughing. Be honest, he felt bad laughing.
I felt really bad. When I get to the gates of hell, Drew, they're gonna be like, we'd like to pull the clip from your live stream. Yeah. Okay.
John Doe. Some trans women get their jaws filed down to be less masculine. So why wouldn't masculine trans men get jaw augmentation to appear more masculine? I thought you can get like a pumped up jaw. I wasn't surprised.
If you take testosterone, it is going to thicken your jaw. Yeah. But if you're a woman, you're not going to go that far. Like look at that. There's just not enough T in the world. Now, if maybe they did and they shaved it down, I don't know.
That reminds me of Kendall, who's the mom of Kardashian?
Kris
Jenner.
Nicely done.
There it is.
I actually had a meeting with Kris Jenner.
Really?
Yeah.
People talking about Kris Jenner's new face.
Bro, this is.
She look younger than her daughter.
You can say what you want, but goddamn, she's got to be in her 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Bro. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Like whatever the male version of that is. I'm finna do it. I'll warn you all right now. There is going to be some period where I'm like, hey guys, I have to go dark for a month or however long it takes you to heal because I'm coming back.
I'll go live with a bunch of bandages.
Yes. That is gangster. How do you do that? That is deal with the devil shit. That is the portrait of Dorian Gray. Like that is wild. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. That dude, how did she pull that off? That's crazy. That's crazy. So She's 84 to 85. If that's 84 to 85, double down. I'm doing it twice. Drew, come on though. Are you not impressed?
Any Kardashian surgery, absolutely. Because to me, they're the Michael Jordan of plastic surgery. Like
So
Kim had a small butt, big butt. Yeah, but like lip fillers on an old woman, they look terrible.
Oh, for 100%.
Like,
I'm
lip
saying
fillers go bad
just
so-
this. I'm talking about like literally until I saw that image, I was like, look, I might have some minor shit done, but I would never go ham. Once I saw that, I was like, yep, sign me up. Can I start paying for it now? Because
she looks good
God
today.
damn, that looks so good. I am shocked.
I know, but then in
I
like
am shocked.
12 months, something gonna start sagging.
Okay,
She's
and if
gonna have
that's
to tighten it
real,
up.
and if that's all bad, then yeah, forget it. But like, I'm very impressed.
That reminds me of
very impressed.
Little Kim. I don't know why
Wild.
I'm dunking on a bunch of like Little Kim's face. Like her face is crazy now because she had
Weird.
she had
Madonna's the one that scares the life out
Ooh,
of
I
me.
didn't,
Wait,
I
is
didn't see
that- What?
I didn't see new Madonna.
What?
Madonna look crazy now?
What?
I only seen old pictures of Madonna.
Oh my
I
God,
don't-
pull this up.
like,
This is a catastrophe. This is like, it needs to be like, there needs to be an intervention.
Ooh.
Or she needs to get the updated. No. You got to just do like before and after. Cause okay, that is an unreasonably flattering version of what is.
Yeah, hold on.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
But that's what it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope, bro. Yeah. But whatever Kris Jenner's doing, I want to slide home to that, Drew. Holy shit. Now, look, I just assumed that it's been faked or like that there's filters on it or something. But if she looks like that in real life,
That is
holy
wild.
bejesus.
Sheesh.
That, yeah. Astro, Magnus,
Somebody
I
please,
agree.
somebody please protect.
Yeah,
Marissa
Miley
Tomei.
Cyrus is starting to scare me a little bit too, Marusha.
Lindsay Lohan had a whole new face.
That's what I'm talking
Shouldn't even
about.
look the same.
Dude, but she looks good.
She looks great.
Like, I really want her to have a comeback. She got that new movie, Freakier Friday or whatever.
Right? Her face should last her at least 2-3 years. She got to make a run right now. She got to go.
Bro.
She got to go while it's hot. All right, we got to talk about this AI thing. So for those that don't know, Will Smith is on tour. I don't even know who's going to those concerts anymore, bro. Like, I Love Pretty Girls was not it. But he released a promo video on his Instagram, really quick, in succession. You can't really tell. To me, I got fooled the first time I've seen it. I was like, oh, this
You
is
guys told me that it was AI, and I still was like, I don't see it. I mean, you can sort of like, that one's probably AI. That one looks real to me. That looks I assume that's real. So I don't know if you just used it to get some close-ups that he otherwise wouldn't have gotten, or if you wanted
it's like
to
the
add signs.
far away ones. But
Yeah. So my thing is, was he protecting himself from a small crowd? If he was, then danger, Will Robinson, because you're going to get roasted
as he is now.
for faking a big audience. If you had the big audience, but you're just trying to like do some insert shots, you want to like put in some signs or whatever, I'm not going to hate on you. Like, if you're getting hated on at that point, you're getting hated on actually for something else, the loss of the credibility from the slap to the I Like Pretty Girls or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, this song sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
So, like that stuff. But the only thing where I'm really going to throw shade, yeah, you can see that guy's face is just like demented.
His face is more hands, fingers, counts all.
Yeah, whoopsie.
Yeah.
So if he's trying to make it look like he had a bigger crowd than he had, okay, that's like, there's a level of cringe there that when you get called out would just be too devastating. I would never fuck with it. But if you're like, oh man, we didn't get enough close-ups, like, can we AI it real fast? Like, that's what AI is for, at least right now. But yeah, it's so dangerous, so dangerous.
And then this was an interesting one. I want to jump over to the University of Zurich that dropped a AI test. I'm gonna leave this without context and then we'll bring it back. But I think that this is crazy and it supports this whole dead internet theory.
Just got caught running a massive secret AI experiment on Reddit where their bots were 6 times more persuasive at changing people's minds. Since November
By the way, there's something
2024,
about this guy's voice that makes me always assume that he is AI. I don't know that he's a digital twin, which is impressive that you can make me go, wait a second, but then I'm not entirely convinced. But every time I see this guy's stuff, there's something about his voice I'm like, is this guy a digital version?
Are you AI?
Researchers deployed 13 AI bots across Reddit that posted nearly 1,500 comments, completely invisible to both users and moderators, effectively turning thousands of people into unwitting lab rats. What makes this absolutely chilling is how these bots operated. Before responding to anyone, one AI would stalk the user's post history, analyze their beliefs, political orientation, and personal attributes, then craft the
This is what people don't understand about AI, man, is that you can launch a million of these things. So for every comment that they post, they could do what would take a human 3 days. They'll just like insta research you. They know all your stuff. He says stalk, which makes it sound like it takes a lot of time. It's just boom, like it's one of those thought for 47 seconds. And then it gives you something that is just perfectly tailored to you. It mirrors yourself back, or it's like the exact triggers to rage bait you. And yeah, they're going to be able to do this at scale. At scale. Autobots unite. Yes. American Indian, you are correct. Oh, this is going to get
I want to
wild.
get to the results of the study, though.
Perfect response to manipulate them. The results are horrifying. Over 100 Redditors awarded Delta points to these bots, officially acknowledging that the AI arguments changed their minds. The paper literally highlights that all our treatments surpass human performance substantially, with persuasion rates 6 times higher than real people. These bots
Okay, pause it for a
infiltrate
second.
discussions
Here is what people do not understand about AI. AI is trained on the entire corpus of human knowledge. So if somebody's good at a thing, AI can tell you exactly what they do. Whose strategies would you like to know? It can go aggregate everything that's ever been said about what made Michael Jordan a great basketball player. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it, but it does mean it can tell you. So there is now nothing that doesn't have pattern recognition that AI can't tell you about. That is insane. So now you're going up in like convince people off. You're going up against something that's trained on all of human knowledge.
It's like a master debater going
Yeah.
against a high school student or something.
Going against a preschooler because it's like, what style of debate would you like me to use for this? So there's that guy, oh, I don't remember his name, Andrew something, that people call like the king of blood sport debating. So it could be like, oh, I'll debate in his style. Or would you like me to debate like Jordan Peterson? Or would you like me to debate like Lincoln Douglas style debates? Like, you tell me what you want. Boom. And it can do it. Or it can pick up on, ooh, you debate like the blood sport guy. Cool. I'll come back at you like a blood sport guy. Like it, dude, it is wild. And then, by the way, they're going to be trained. So the AI is going to look at, oh, which argument was persuasive? Is it more to match somebody fire with fire? Is it better to hit them with the alternative? You're emotional, and so I'm calm and collected. Also, by the way, oh, I look back at your history. Oh, when somebody matches your emotion, you crumble. Oh, no. When somebody is the opposite of the way you are, then they get the better of you. And so it'll just fucking tailor it to you. So this is where, oh my God, like this is Andrew Wilson. Thank you very much, Mad Villainy. This is where this stuff gets wild. So yeah, brace yourselves. We are going to need proof of human. Proof of human. The blockchain. People. I get that when the blockchain came on the scene, it came on in a way that people did not like, Drew. There was a lot of pushback. But I'm telling you,
That's what, like
the
doing
blockchain,
NFTs and all that?
yes,
Yeah.
the blockchain is the shit. We need the blockchain. You need to know this person is real. You need to know that an account was created yesterday. Or no, this account has been around forever. Oh, and by the way, it's got an AI probability score of 94%. And you're like, I don't listen to anybody that has an AI probability score higher than 32. Cool. Like those are all going to happen. And then we'll all just know what's their probabilities. Oh, fuck this kid. And you just move on. So we've got to race to that.
Yeah.
Because right now we are acting like, no, not going to be a problem. They're already making movies about what a big problem this is. Did you see that movie? With Schwartzman? He's one of my favorite actors. That kid is so fucking hilarious. Rushmore is like one of my all-time favorite comedies. Anybody, what is the name of that movie? Something about a mountain.
Oh, Mountainhead. The HBO
yes.
movie. Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
It's all about like, oh, you can't tell what's real. And so you can just spin
They
people out of
started an
control.
international coup or something like that. Yeah.
Just by lying about it and putting out AI. Like if you can make a movie about it, you can put blockchain solves in. So, I mean, I can steel man why it hasn't happened yet, but it feels pretty weak. Like this should be happening. All social media. In fact, What's the real reason? They don't want to out people as bots. They don't want you to see that 92% of all social media traffic is bots. That's exactly why this isn't happening. And we need it to happen to keep us all from deranging.
Crazy. Another reaction from an interesting account. I want your opinion on this one next.
Holy shit. Hold on. Marusha Dark. First of all, if you're a gay man, this is going to go a lot farther. But he just said AI has better gaydar than gay men and will still understand, and we still don't understand how or why. That's fucking fascinating. Because there is weird shit that will indicate that that will certainly increase your likelihood of becoming gay. The weirdest one that I've heard, and I can't believe this is true, but statistically, as far as I can tell, it really is true. The more older brothers you have, the more likely you are to be gay.
Wow.
That's weird.
How many older brothers does everybody have here?
0.
I have 0.
Oh wait, I have a half brother, but I don't remember. So.
And I also doubt that it's a dad thing. This is almost certainly a mom thing. And so unless your half brother is from your mom, which I doubt.
Nope.
Yeah. So
I also don't understand how that goes back to the original statement though.
Well, we're just talking about all the things that AI can do so well. It can like laser target you, yada, yada. And then I saw a comment in the feed.
And it has gaydar. Well, that makes your $20 worth it for OpenAI. All right, I want to react to this account because this one blew my mind.
The whole world is going nuts over this bride's viral wedding idea. Instead of spending $700 on 46 disposable cameras for her guests, she printed out QR codes and placed them on tables. When scanned, a digital disposable camera will pop up on their phones without downloading any app. Each guest can take up to 25 pictures, and by the end of the night, all the photos will be uploaded to a shared gallery for everyone to see. This way, they'll get hundreds of pictures from every perspective. She used this app to generate the codes.
This video was entirely fake, AI generated. Not only was it AI...
Crazy. 100%. The entire thing was fake. The story was fake. Dude, the lady was fake.
Often we're getting fooled. Not just that we will be fooled, that we are getting fooled. It's going to get interesting. And so people are going to have to decide, like, do I want AI on my feed? This will be a huge opportunity. You've got Elon leaning into it. So re-releasing Vine with AI content. So for people that like AI slop, you can go check that out. And I'm glad that I have that option. But he's certainly, at least as Vine goes, he's not trying to hide it. And then there are probably going to be somebody that launches a social media platform where it's like only humans. Now they will have to do some sort of blockchain integration so that you can prove that this person is human. Otherwise, it's never going to get off the ground. But it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. Yeah, esoteric dichotomy, post-truth. Like you really get to a place. I want AI banned. Control, alt, delusion. It's certainly not going to get banned because it's going to make your life better. But it's going to make part of only humans. It's going to make it's going to make things in life way worse. Like there are certain parts of life way worse. Let me be very clear. So we've got to be careful, man. You've got to put things in where people know what's AI and what's not. Having AI, banger, awesome. Like I just cannot stress this enough for all my creatives out there. The amount that we have reduced the cost of our game development cannot be overstated. Things that used to cost $100,000, we can now do in an afternoon for like the equivalent of like $500. I mean, it is so many orders of magnitude cheaper. I just can't stress it enough. So you don't want a world without AI, and forget entertainment. Its ability to diagnose tumors, its ability to diagnose disease, its ability to create new compounds to use for drug-resistant bacteria. I mean, just like on and on and on. Like AI is really going to be incredible, but it's also going to derange an already deranged culture because it will tell you the things that thinks you want to hear. You will get fooled by things thinking that it's a real person. You will end up arguing with yourself. It will use manipulative tactics that you'll be like totally blind to, and it's like dragging you down some mad route. The number of times, like partly AI in an unintentional way has like checked some of Rage Bait's effect on me because now I'm like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. Is this just fucking AI? Like, so if you can have that in your mind where it's like, you just know to check the score, the likelihood of this being AI, like it's either high or it's low. And then, okay, cool, I can engage with it because it has a low score or whatever. But without that, ooh, buddy, this is going to be deranging. And the McGhouls is not convinced that I'm human. You shouldn't be. Without some blockchain proof of human, you should just, we are racing on the ad side to create a digital twin of me. The second that is like indistinguishable, my ads would be recorded by AI, unless of course the advertiser's like, we don't want you to do that. But if they don't care, ooh, buddy, if there is one, or imagine that you really can't tell the difference. Cadence, everything, can't tell. Deep dives, I'll script, have a fucking AI record it. Like, don't make me do it. I can save my voice. I don't have to spend the time. That'll be amazing. But
to your point,
you need to know.
I'm really taking a step back and looking like the incentives aren't in the right place, because if I'm Meta, if I'm Twitter, I don't want you to know that this is all bots. Yeah. I don't want you to know how prevalent this is. I don't want you to know that they're already on the loose.
Yeah.
I want to keep it under gate.
Oh, 100%. Let me give it to you from a gaming perspective. We're developing Project Kaizen. We have a huge hurdle to cross, which is part of our game is survival. So nobody cares that you're the only player in that world. And that's the main part of the game. But there's another part of the game that's an extraction royale competition. So you're building your survival world out, and you can go basically risk 25 minutes of your time, and you might get a huge reward or you might get nothing. And so there you want real players. And it's way more fun when you believe that the players are real. But we've gotten very good at making bots because we don't have a lot of real players yet. So you'll sometimes get a real player, but most of the time you won't. And so we want people to be tricked. I want people to think, oh, this is a guy in Poughkeepsie. Yeah. I'm playing against a guy in upstate New York. Like, I don't want you to realize that that's a player bot. So your experience, in fact, you want me to trick you. You want to believe that that's a real person. And to the point where, and I hate giving away all my secrets, but our player bots will teabag you. There is a roll of the dice behind the scenes where it's like, does it teabag you or does it not? It's fucking hilarious. And because the team here knows that they're player bots, but they didn't know that we put in the teabagging, one of them, they were watching me play and I was getting teabagged by a bot. And they're like, did that bot just teabag you? And I was like, yes, that is a very special feature that we have added to make it feel like that you're playing with real people.
But I heard that was the gamification that Fortnite cracked, where the first time you sign up for Fortnite, when you're like level 1 fresh account, they put that map with a bunch of bots so you can kind of get the win, get the dopamine loop, get addicted.
Really brilliant.
Yeah.
And also it allows you to do pure skill matching. So if you're like really bad, you're going to be in a lobby that has a ton of bots. But if you're good, then you're going to start getting a mix. And that way you never feel like you win against a bot, because that never feels good. Like if that final fight doesn't feel like nice and intense, then that's pretty lame. But you don't like feel like, oh man, I'm just so bad at that. I can never play. This isn't even fun. So it's pretty brilliant.
Nice.
But now I will admit our bots are quote unquote better than theirs. Our bots are harder to beat. How about that? But making a bot hard is actually easy. Making a bot human-like is hard.
Got it. You got something ITU coming up
today, you mean?
No, in general.
Oh, you're just saying, hey everybody, ITU. Yes, so we actually do have something coming up today for ITU. But if you guys so from the ITU thing that we're doing today is for people that are in our BDCEO class. So we have two different avenues for Impact Theory University. The first part of Impact Theory University is for people that are trying to start their first company. Definitely check that out. I think with what's going on with AI, like people are really going to be not necessarily in trouble, but people are going to find themselves in a transitional moment. So that's for anybody that wants to start something from scratch. On the $1 billion CEO side, that's for if you're already doing $1 million in revenue. We keep these two separate for very specific reasons. They have different problems. They're at different parts of their journey. So the BD CEO side is for people that are already doing $1 million and are trying to scale. The interesting thing about $1 billion CEO is that everybody thinks what they need to learn is the marketing and sales techniques, and you do have to learn those. But what stops people from running a company is what we were talking about earlier, the VMG. So if you don't understand VMG, then you are really going to be in a problem. And so teaching people how to think from first principles, how to execute no matter what the problem is, that you can actually get down to first principles and build up a solution from there. It's completely unique. It is really, there's nothing like it out there on the market. First of all, because there are very few entrepreneurs that have had the kind of success that I've had, but also want to teach. So for anybody that can hear my voice right now, if that's you, if you're doing over $1 million in revenue, try this program out. It is unlike anything else that's out there. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what problem that you're struggling with, we're going to be able to help you. So looking forward to having you guys join that. We'll be doing another masterclass in the future, but if you want to get in right now, you've just got to sign up. So there should be a link in chat. If we've not dropped the link in chat, please do that. And hopefully I will see you guys on the inside. Now, a little bit of housekeeping. I am going to be traveling, so we will not be going live this Friday. We will not be going live next Wednesday or Friday. And then I will be back the following week. Yeah, even I'm sad. I'm going to have a great time, and I'm so excited to see my family. But at the same time, I love getting to spend time with you guys. So just keep in mind, not this Friday, not next Wednesday, not next Friday, but then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. And we are trying, we're not ready to commit to it yet, but we are trying to get to 3 days a week. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in the very near future and that you guys will join us. All right, with that, everybody, I hope that you guys have an incredible intervening week and a half. Much love to everybody.
Happy Labor Day weekend.
Yes, happy Labor Day weekend, in fact. Thank you guys all for joining us, and we will see you next time here live. Tom Bilyeu Show. All right, everybody. Peace out.